Chris Hansen and Dad Switch just going. Hopefully somebody else on thinking.
Yeah.
Social media presence.
I think so. All right. Let me pull it up so I can chat if necessary. Uh-oh, this is not charging. Hold on.
Cool. Tent City. Just a couple second delay. Sweet. I hope we do the whole thing with 0 people watching.
It's very likely.
It'll end up on VHS.
All right. This is unmuted. Cool. Greetings if you dare. Happy Christmas tonight. My brother and I, the illustrious illustrator Neil Astroman, will be reading Spooky Basement Volume 2, The 13 Creeps of Christmas. I am Clay Astroman. So let's jump in here. The chat feature's open, so if anyone is watching, you may chat. Also, if you dare.
Live from the tent city of perverts.
Yes.
We're coming at you. Merry
Pals of Indiana. Chapter 1. Baron and Grindax to electronics, a robotic voice demanded loudly. Baron and Grindax to electronics. Fuck. Baron rose from the toilet. Hanging from the stall door in front of him, his best friend / guitar / spider monster, Grindax, chilled with his eyes slammed shut because he didn't want to see shit, either figurative or literal. Why do we always have to deal with the customers? Baron grumbled. Where's Dweem? Cart duty, man, Grindax grumbled back. Dude is always on cart duty. Has been ever since that old grandpa caught him staring at his nipples. Baron kicked open the stall door and didn't flush. My son is such a disappointment, he thought. Ultra Slaughterhouse had been such a baller kid. He painted smiley faces on his belly with sunscreen, made killer extra heavy PBJs, and could tell a ghost story that would make your pubes stand at attention. But then he hit a certain age, said he'd rather be called Dweem than Ultra Slaughterhouse, and began wearing ladies' cut shirts because they made him look skinnier and hotter, even though he was still morbidly obese and thought a single serving of Hot Pockets was 18. Baron washed his hands and went back to the stall to pick up Grindax. His buddy looked up at him and smiled a spider fang smile. Fuck, man. Grindax is getting old, too. His blacker than a witch's butthole paint was chipped. Cataracts had degraded his 8 eyes from neon purple to a milky lavender, and his razor wire strings were covered in a dull patina. He looked like an old, farty Labrador. Baron avoided his own reflection in the mirror as he and Grindax busted out of the employee bathroom and re-entered the blinding fluorescent light of the cacophonic capitalistic cavern that was Plurus By. All around them, dumpy / rotund fucks minced with their fanny packs taut and their phones out, making sure that whatever they were considering buying in store wasn't cheaper online. It was always cheaper online. Baron and Grindax to electronics right friggin' now, the robot squawked over the PA. Fuck off, Elizabeth Bitcherson, Baron growled. Grindax chuckled at the clever pun, as he and Baron both knew the assistant manager's real name was Elizabeth Cunterson. The duo stomped over to electronics and turned off the IL pager, where a dumpy/rotund fuck sighed and looked up from his phone. Finally, he sighed. Pretty unfamiliar with this book, so it's a bit ratty. The voices may come and go.
I love it.
How can I help you, kind dark sir? Baron said with a bow. After a decade of working in retail, he learned how to appease patrons and keep bullshit to a minimum. Give me one of those Stim Major Stanley Funko Pop figures. Baron unlocked the game case and reached past a bunch of Escape from Sideburn Mountain VR video games and color-changing Escape from Sideburn Mountain coffee mugs that nerds only used for cocoa because coffee was yucky and a drug. Beyond those were the Escape from Sideburn Mountain Funko Pops, nothing more than palette-swapped identical pieces of square plastic. Baron removed a figure that was wearing blast goggles and holding a test tube at his crotch. The customer's face scrunched up, making him look like a pimply/rosacea Sharpay. Cool.
Ceiling is showing.
Thanks.
There is a ceiling.
Our mom is letting us know that the ceiling is showing. That's to let you know that it's a spooky basement.
We love moms in the spooky basement.
Yeah.
Good job, Mom.
We are not mama haters. That's Stim Major Andrew, you maroon. Stim Major Stanley is who transmogrified himself into a wisecracking ghost pepper in S41E29. It was hilarious, yet also scientifically accurate. But you obviously know nothing about ESM or science. Baron used to know something about ESM, at least back when it was called EFSM. But then the hyper-conglomerate Foxcast bought it, renamed it ESM, and ran it into the fucking ground. At first, Baron felt proud not to know who Stim Major Stanley was, but he was immediately humbled by the fact that he still had to present one to the customer and pray it would be adequate. Ugh, the customer balked as he examined the toy. This box has a microscopic dent on the corner. Not mint, not primo. Give me another. Baron didn't see a dent, but he knew better than to question it. He pulled out another SMS. So footnote, first of a billion. Stanley is the name of a dude from whom me and my buddy bought a bunch of Sega Master System stuff. So that's why it's SMS. Ah, but is this to your satisfaction, kind sir? Baron asked with a bow. His knees popped and his sciatica sent electric needles coursing up his leg and through the base of his skull. It's not great, but it's better than that other piece of shit you tried to trick me into buying, the customer snorted. He grabbed for the figure, but caught only air and emasculation. My sincere apologies, O dark, kind magistrate Christopher Lee, sir, Baron said. But I am obligated to escort this fine artifact with an E to the counter before you may take utmost possession of it. I shall allow it, the patron sneered. Normally he would have had a shit fit and started live streaming his harrowing experience, but since Baron struck him as a classy, old school, albeit dark, kind Lovecraftian sir, he decided to choose the path of magnanimity this time. Baron slowly walked over to the checkout counter because what was the rush? $64.80, he sighed after ringing up the SMS. Excuse you? The anthropomorphic fat wheezed. It's $64.25 on babydealbellissimo.fu. Shipped and sold by? Baron asked perfunctorily. I don't know, but I definitely saw a lower number online somewhere and at some point. So you can either give me a price match or I can... His long fingernailed ranch powder stained thumb hovered over the first of 5 stars on pinkbabyreviewboys.fu. Ah, nay, but I beseech you, my fine Bazinga sir, fret not, for we are in agreement regarding the dark bartership on this most contustial eve. Indeed. The gross thumb retracted from the screen. That will be $64.25. Here's $65. Keep the change. You need it more than I do. The customer grabbed the toy and waddled away, chuckling while leaving a 2-star review titled, Underwhelmed and Viciously Attacked. 25 Reasons Why Blur Spy is the Worst Spy, and which included Baron's full name, address, and social security number. As he exited, he passed an obese kid or maybe 30-year-old with sweat stains beneath his boobs, even though it was December. The spherical figure sauntered over to Baron. Yo, Pops and Uncle Grindex, he rasped. I've been working out there for minutes. I'm friggin' wiped. You guys want to snag lunch? Sure, Ultra Slaughter or Dweem, Baron replied. Let me see if Miss Cunnerson will let us take an early 30-minute lunch break. Maybe she will if I agree to stay a few hours late tonight and work on Christmas morning. That's fair, right? As he loped across the store to ask his adolescent boss for permission to eat garbage food with his garbage son, Baron's balls clacked around like BBs in a shriveled balloon. His life had become a fucking nightmare. Chapter 2. After Baron agreed to stay overnight and also work Christmas Eve/day for the next 5 years, his boss let him take an early lunch. He decided to break the news to his son as they walked to Taco Bell. Sorry, homie, he began. I know you like us to be together on Christmas morning so we can eat turkey jerky and do scratch-off lottery cards as a family, but it looks like I'll be working this year, and every year, for infinity. No prob, Pops, Dweem responded. I'm spending Christmas at Mom's house anyway. Baron was surprised and a little bummed at how easily his son didn't give a shit that they wouldn't be chilling for the holidays. Your mom's, eh? Baron muttered. Yep, I'm super pumped. It's pumped. So, they got the Monsteropolis portal up and running again at Pizzeria 64? Nah, it's all online now. You just stick your pinky in the USB drive, spray a little urine around, and boom, you're there. Things made less sense to Baron with each passing day. He used to attempt to keep up, but it was as if everything changed at an exponential pace. The more he tried, the faster things evolved. Eventually, he just stopped trying. He once heard on TV that one of the ways scientists measure depression is by sticking mice in a glass of water and seeing how long it takes for them to give up, stop swimming, and drown. The forced swim test, it was called. He sometimes wondered how long he would swim if he were one of the mice. Dad? Baron opened his eyes and found himself staring into the sunlit street. The little walk dude is flashing. Thanks, son. Old eyes. As they crossed the street, Baron started to reach for Dweem's hand like he used to when he was a child, when he was Ultra Slaughterhouse. He stopped and withdrew it. You all good, man? Grindex called from Baron's back. Yep. Pumperdings are just kind of... I'm fine, Baron sternly interrupted. In their usual booth at Taco Bell, Baron stared at his son, who was attempting to concoct a queso Baja freeze. He saw Layla and Dweem's chubby dimples, and he hated them for it. So, how is your mother? Baron asked. She's actually doing super baller right now. She's been on the interview circuit for her new book about the eating twisty diet. So she's not home all the time, but she took off a few days at Christmas so he can chill, and she can give me a bunch of presents and pastries. The fuck is eating twisty? Oh, I think it's something about like how monsters used to eat. Like you eat stuff, but it twists with your gut, so it's more natural. She could explain it better. I'll pass. Have y'all talked recently? Not in a few weeks, Baron lied. It had been years since he last heard her shrill Vivitch voice. Bummer. I bet you will soon, though, Dweem said with a mouthful of Baja and bullshit. That's what I'm asking Santa for you and Mom to be cool again. Son, that's fucking R-worded, Baron snapped. Layla, or your mom, made it perfectly clear that we're never getting back together. He and Layla had tried countless times, at least 3, to make things work. But after Baron accidentally liked an Instagram picture of Serena Williams bending over a tennis net, Layla said she was 100% done forever. Oh, I know that, Dweem said. She'd never bail on Randy. I just want y'all to be cool again, you know, to at least talk. Who the fuck is Randy? Before Dweem could answer, Grindex cut in. He knew that whatever Dweem's answer was would only get Baron even more pissed/bummed. Who's talking here? Yeah, all right, this is Grindex. So, how are you planning to get that request to Santa, he asked. Christmas is right around the corner, and you can't read/write. Yeah, but that's why I'm going to go see him in person. He's at Christmas Kingdom, down I-64 near that flea market where the kid was found gutted and stuffed with soft pretzel bites. Sweet, Grindex responded. So anyway, Mom and Rent, did you buy a season pass, or are you buying a one-day ticket, or what? One day, but I'm planning to ask Santa for a season pass is my second wish. Third, actually, after some of that chalk that works in the bathtub. Or maybe fourth after one of those monkeys that turns into a basketball. Those were fucking, what was this, Popples? Popples. It was a real toy, as was the bathtub chalk. You can take this in the bathtub, so it makes sense to double up. Oh yeah, and a copy of Deshaun Bitch's Guide to Getting Bitches, because Mom said I need to learn how to talk to women so I don't turn out like... Sounds like you got it all figured out. Totally. Wait, What were we all talking about? Being puzzled. He had his dad's ADHD, so he got derailed super easily. Baron had kept up, though, and he appreciated what Grindex did for him. He didn't actually want to know shit about Randy. Fuck Randy. If I could make a wish to Santa, Baron thought, it would be for everything to go back to how it used to be. When Grindex and I were young and pumped and had sweet government contract jobs and our nets didn't hurt all the time. You were about to tell us how/when you were going to visit Santa and his sweet, sweet magic, Baron said. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, right. I may go to Christmas Kingdom after work tonight. Why? Do you and Uncle Grindex want to go? Definitely, Baron announced to the 4 other people at Taco Bell, none of whom were interested or impressed. We're not waiting until tonight. It's MF family trip time. And what is this? Moonshine?
It's rum.
Rum time.
That's rum, baby.
Rum time.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Christmas marigold, courtesy of a precious elf who may not want to be on stream.
Oh, we'll see her for Krampus later.
Yeah, she'll be reading very shortly. Let's see. You want to bust through chapter 3?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I lost my place. I was pouring rum. Never tried the Dwayne voice.
Neither have I.
This is so nuts! Dweem yelled excitedly as he crashed into the mountain of chewed gum and used condoms shaped like a bus seat. I can't get believe we're actually ditching work. I'd love to see Mrs. Cunterson's face right now. No joke, Baron chuckled from the other side of the bus, because there was no way he, Grindex, or anyone else could fit into a seat next to Dweem. She'd be out like, Baron, go to my office right now and stack those boxes next to the computer. Oh, shit, it's Baron. Lift slowly at the knees, then at the waist. Make sure the webcam is facing those buttered buns for OSHA reasons, but keep the monitor off. I'll be in there to check on your shorts. I mean, check on you shortly. What the fuck? Grindex stammered. Is that what you do in there? Yeah, I lift boxes and do other box stuff. Why do you always have red stuff on your neck afterwards? It looks like lipstick. It's just Gatorade, okay? Sometimes I pour it on my neck or maybe my crotch to cool down after lifting boxes. Dad, you know you can tell us anything. Dwayne started. Just forget it, Baron interrupted. What I do in there puts mac on the table and occasionally cheese. All that matters is that we get to Santa. Once I get my wish, we won't have to worry about Blur Spy or customers or playing Guess the Moisture Source ever again. The trio rode in silence for a bit, each of them visualizing / trying not to visualize the viscous horrors. To stay as far as he could in the latter group, Baron took in his immediate surroundings. The bus was jam-packed with a menagerie of weirdos, pervs, and perv-weirdos. My contemporaries, he would have thought, if he knew what the word meant. Instead, he thought, oh my fuckness, someone here smells like they took a dump after eating a fart omelet. I wonder if it's me. A few years ago, he would have been caught dead riding / smelling the bus. He and Grindex would have simply jet-booted to Christmas Kingdom, laughing, barrel rolling, and pissing on pedestrians the entire way. But Dweem was too fat to carry, and he couldn't wear jet boots of his own because they didn't come in prescription diabetes sizes. It had been so long since Baron used his boots, he wasn't even sure he could anymore. He kicked his right heel on the ground, and a small blue flame appeared, grew, and died over the course of a second. Baron sighed and turned his attention out the window, something he did a lot when he was a kid on the school bus. When I grow up, he used to think as he watched the world pass by, everything will be sweeter. He wouldn't have to rely on his mom anymore, which was about as fruitful as relying on a betta fish that had been microwaved in a glass of vodka. He could move out of the house and find his dad, whoever he was, and together they'd shoot hoops and slap five, kick holes in the drywall, but not give a fuck, because now they'd have a new place to store fruit snacks. Everything seemed to be on track at the time. Even the strangers in white coats promised that someday everything would get more pumped. Being a kid is hard, they'd say while smiling and scribbling on a notepad, but life will get better. But then Baron blinked, and they instead began furrowing their brows and warning, you're not a kid anymore. Knees hurt, and grandmas die, and don't come back no matter how much you want them to. And then strangers in white coats became kids themselves. Ah! Baron shouted as he clasped his arm. Grindex released his non-venomous bite. Sorry, man, you were getting that weird, disty look again. I don't think you're allowed to say that, Baron replied. Really? Since when? I don't know. Since forever. But what about our #1 album? Getting Tisty with it. That was 1996. The fucking Crib Keeper had a Christmas record. At Ren and Stimpy were singing about circus M-words. It was the Wild West back then. Shit, even Freddy Krueger been rapping for a decade. But it's not okay now, even though you're... Nah, better not. Okay, well, you were moving further down the spectrum than usual? Up would be better. That has a more positive ring to it. You were moving further up the spectrum than usual. Should be kosher. So I bit you because I was worried. Perfect. And I appreciate it, homie. As Dweem slept and drooled all over his moves,
Ooh.
a deranged prevert, sick as a mug, on the back of the bus stared at him and rode every bump of the road extra hard. Meanwhile, Baron softly played a folk metal cover of Greensleeves on Grendax until their 10 eyes saw street signs and drug dealers transformed into Christmas trees and candy canes. We're here, dude. Wake up, Baron said to his son. Dweem chiseled away his eye boogers right as the bus drove under a wooden sign that read in red and green letters, "Kelcome to Christmas Kingdom." It's intentionally Kelcome, and it's all K's for you listening along. Santa,
Oh.
he whispered in his dreamy, stupid state while popping the slightest bone. The bus screeched up to the entrance and dropped off the trail before pulling away with the rest of the asylum. Baron Grindax and Dweem approached the front gate, where an elf in a lime green velvet costume chilled in a tiny booth protected by bulletproof glass.
Bad Santa reference there.
Most deaf. Is this male or female elf?
Male. Envision Marcus.
Marcus. Have a holly jolly greeting, the elf sang. It's the best time of the year to get your Christmas Kingdom Family Fun Pass. Buy or renew today for exclusive discounts at all Fruitopia vending machines throughout the park. I don't think Fruitopia's existed for like 2 decades, Baron snapped. The elf stared blankly. Would you like to buy or renew your Christmas Kingdom Family Fuck Pass? Family Fuck Pass? No friggin' way. I didn't say that. Didn't say that, friendo. The elf's hands started twitching. He saw the Baron notice, so he tried hiding them under his computer's keyboard tray, which only made it violently vibrate. I just want 3 normal tickets, Baron said. 1 day, 1 way. If this shit doesn't work out, we're not coming out. Well, I am, Dweem corrected obliviously. I've got to go to Mom's, remember? Fine, 2 one-ways. You want Borgorindex, little Christmas suicide pack? Fart yeah, man, Grindax replied with the confidence of a guitar/spider monster who gives no fucks. I like that. 1 way, 1 way, 1. The elf drifted off. Baron let him do his thing for a bit because he understood what it was like. Sorry, the elf said after his eyes became dry and he remembered to blink. That'll be $1,225. The fucking shit? For 3 tickets? Plus parking. We took the bus. But see, once tires are on the grounds, I have to charge you. Just remember, if you don't get what you're after, then money won't matter. Satisfaction is thus guaranteed. Because if you don't get what you're after, well, you know. The elf said with a sly wink. Oh, I know. Baron said with a wink back as he slid a stolen credit card to the elf. Dweem's brain had become plastinated by ages of pizza bagels and urban smog, so he smiled and winked, even though he had no idea what was going on. The elf shook his head disapprovingly. Enjoy the park, boys, he muttered. He then turned to Dweem and whispered through the spit-covered mouth holes in the glass, and you have a wonderful Christmas time with Mommy, my corpulent little holiday ham. Dweem gave a concerned look to his dad, who was already through the metal detector into the park with Grindax. Hurry the fuck up, son, Baron shouted. Dweem passed through the detector with no problem, since he had only gummy sharks and used tissues in his pockets. He scanned the crowd for his dad and uncle, but they were nowhere to be found. Just as panic began to set in, he heard Baron shrieking in the distance.
Perfection. Chapter 4. The fuck is this monstrosity? Baron yelled. Dweem tracked the voice and Waddle ran over. Pops, what's wrong? There's a fucking Eiffel Tower in the middle of the park. How baby ass. Plus, how is that even Christmassy? And that's a King's Dominion reference. Dweem sighed in relief. I wonder if it's too late to get a refund, Baron said as he headed back toward the entrance. Dude, just ignore it, Grindax replied, and check out all the cool shit that's around it. Baron scoped out the sights. Directly in front of him, an ornate fountain shot red and green ice water all over the place. On both sides of the tower, sidewalks were lined with candy canes, incandescent Christmas lights, big-ass gumdrops, and big-ass gingerbread houses. Oh, damn, true, Baron gasped. Talk about scraping the goodie off. Now you got it, Grindex responded. Dweem had no idea what they were talking about since Scrape the Goodie Off closed shortly after he was born in Monsteropolis. And the one time his dad tried to tell him about his and Grindex's adventures there, Dweem zoned out around the Mrs. Bones part. Well, let's not fuck around, shall we? Baron announced. We came here for one reason, so let's get to it. The sign over there says Santa's at Ye Old Nog Lodge. Looks like it's straight ahead, past all the roller coasters, arcades, and pizza bounce houses. Dweem began to sweat more than usual. We get to do some of that stuff first, though, right? Like, at least the pizza bounce house? I don't even know what that is, but somehow it's all I've ever wanted in life. No friggin' way. I'm a dad, so we gotta stay on schedule. Look, I have a list and everything. He pulled out a crumpled up sheet of legal paper comprising a list of chores related to yards, garages, hardware stores that reeked of pesticide, and dry cleaners that also reeked of pesticide. See, he said proudly, them's the bricks, kid. That's a saying, right? Them's the road. I don't know. Fucking chore list. Me too, Grindex said as he produced a tiny list from his output jack. Dweem strained his eyes through what was written in spider scrawl. Chill, mostly, but also clean NBs. What are NBs? Dweem asked. New Balances, Baron and Grindex replied in unimpressed unison. Jeez, it's like you're not even a dad. The trio beelined straight to Ye Old Nog Lodge, a large wooden banquet hall that looked like a toy cabin. Had it starred in the movie Honey, I Blew Up the Christmas, its porn parody, Honey, I Blew Up the Christmas All Over Your Face, or its porn parody sequel, Honey, I Blew Up the Christmas All Over Your Face 2, Honey, I Blew the Christmas. Wow, Dweem exclaimed as he spun around and soaked in every holly jolly sight, sound, and smell. To his right was a tiny fudgery, where a cheery Mrs. Claus pumped out log after log of the good stuff. To his left loomed aisles of t-shirts featuring the holographic or lenticular visages of Christmas Kingdom's mascots like Dweezil the reindeer and Boosnoose the snow dog clown. In the far corner stood a makeshift shop that sold nothing but pristine, brand new Sega Saturn games for crazy cheap. In the other corner, an animatronic/anthropomorphic corn cob with a straw hat and a piece of straw hanging from his mouth churned butter. It looked over at Dweem and winked. Ooh, Dweem moaned as he entered a sensory/pump overload. He spun around harder and squeezed his bosoms together in pure Christmas glee. What to do first? None of this bullshit, Baron growled. It's Santa time, son. Do you need to see the chore list again? Dweem's pump plummeted as Baron grabbed his hand and pulled him to the center of the lodge, where Santa king-chilled on a silver throne, which throne-chilled on a golden dais. Yo, Santa, Baron began sternly. We got a shit ton of wishes and a rabbit poop of time. Oh, 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 Santa laughed. Isn't that a delightful little phrase? A rabbit duty of time. Poop, Baron corrected. Shit, Grindex added. Don't you get it, Dad? Dweem said with a nudge. He's a Santa. Santas don't curse. They're like Mormons. Oh, damn, Baron replied. Dang, Dweem corrected. Darn, Santa Hundo corrected. So, y'all also don't drink caffeine and you have a bunch of wives and stuff? Grindex asked. We're not allowed to drink coffee or tea, but for some reason Coke is okay, even Monster. And the wife stuff is just fundamentalist Santas. That's a whole different thing. Well, I don't agree with it, but I respect it, Baron Brownose. Now about our wishes. I'm afraid you'll have to wait in line, young men, Santa said kindly, but I can't wait to hear them. I bet they're terrific wishes. Baron turned around into a sea of crabby mom and bum baby faces. Oh, damn, sorry, Baron said because he knew he had to stay halfway decent until he got his wish. I mean, darn. He, Grindex, and Dweem busted at the back of the line and waited behind a group of goth teens who claimed to be taking the picture with Santa ironically. They kept calling him Satan Claus, threw up the horns because they thought it was hilarious. When they finally got to Santa, the one girl in the group tried to sit on his lap so she could look cool/sassy in the picture. But when he was like, nah, we don't do that here, she got offended and frowned more than usual and afterward told everyone outside that Santa was a filthy pervert, even though he didn't do anything. After 900 years, it was the trio's turn to approach the silver and gold throne. That was quick, boys, Santa said with a smile. We're not wasting any time. We got STDs. Santa's smile quickly dropped. Oh, I see. Well, then I suppose you'll be wishing for penicillin in your stockings. Nah, fart that. We don't need drugs. Probably just snag a couple energy drinks and knock it out. Energy drinks for STDs? Yeah, man. Nothing like a shoot ton of caffeine when you got stuff to do. Ha! Ho, ho, ho! Santa laughed. Stuff to do. How delightful. But why is stuff to do STDs, plural? Because there's more than one stuff to do. Then why not stuffs to do? SSTD? S's to do? Baron Mold? Nah, man. We're not trying to do any S's. That goth chick was right about you. You're a little freaky deaky. What's your wish? Santa said, beginning to lose his saintly patience. I wish for Mom and Dad to be friends again, Dream shouted as he pushed past Baron. Well, isn't that a beautiful wish? Santa roared in delight. Oh, somebody is about to get the fart, not the fuck, grounded, Baron growled. No, no, Santa chided. This young man is so passionate about reconciling his parents, he couldn't wait a second longer, and I think that's just fine. Tell me, lad, who is your daddy, and why did he and your mommy break up? He's, Dweem started. This time, Baron cut him off. What do you mean, who's your daddy? I'm standing right here. You should know that. But of course, the Santa laughed. Just an old Santa trick. He winked, but no sprinkle, nor sparkle, nor candy cane dust came out of his eye pocket. Only a tiny, not even Christmas green eye booger. Yeah, friggin' right, Baron shouted as he put the pieces together. Tell me, what's this dude's name? He spun around to reveal Grindax on his back. The guitar/spider monster winked all 8 eyes and sparkles went everywhere. The fuck is that? Santa screamed so loudly his beard flew off and onto Dweem's chubby hamster cheeks. I knew it, Baron declared. You're not the real Santa. No, Dweem said as he straightened his new fake beard. I am. You're fucking grounded is what you are, Baron snapped as he snatched the beard off Dweem. He threw it back at the was a Santa and now just a stranger. Your beard's fake and so are you. And look at those acne scars. Fucking gross. You're right, the imposter said sadly. I'm not Santa. My real name is Butt. And I got pimples when I was a kid because I would eat straight butter, or sometimes butter with little dinosaur fruit snacks jammed into it, so it looked like they were stuck in a tar pit. Santa, you're not real? Dweem stammered. But, Grindex corrected excitedly. You're just some fat pockmarked guy named Butt, Dweem trailed off. I'm sorry, Butt apologized. So there really is no Santa, and I'll never get my one true Christmas wish. Baron cringed at his kid saying one true Christmas wish. It's one thing to hit up a magical dude and tell him what you want so you get it, he thought, but Dweem is making it way too weird/baby. Plus, he's too old for this shit. Yeah, Butt sucks, he said. Let's get out of here. Well, Dweem, you get out of here. Your uncle and I are gonna hang around for a bit. Baron and Grindex chuckled as the latter unwound 2 of his strings and made them dance around like little nooses. Hey, make it 3, Butt said with a smile. Hell no, Baron snapped. You made my kid realize there's no such thing as Santa/magic, so you're not getting shit, except maybe a couple swift kicks to the ping pong. Yeah, Butt, Grindex chimed in because he was really enjoying the name. Wait a present picking second, the imposter said while covering his crotch. No, I never said there was no such thing as the real Santa. I'm listening, Baron said. Dweem turned his head hopefully, his chubby little meatball eyes growing in wonderment. Fake Santa leaned in closely and whispered, The real Santa is right here, in this park. But you just said you weren't Santa. You just said you weren't Santa, Dweem said exasperatedly. And you have doo-doo breath, Grindex added. Baron cracked up. We should start calling him doo-doo instead of butt, or butt breath. Doo-doo breath. Doo-doo butt breath island, man. Shut the fuck up for half a second, you idiots, Butt snarled. None of the trio was surprised because they knew since he wasn't actually Santa, he no longer had to be Mormon nice. A bunch of kids started crying, though, and moms began letting the Yelp reviews fly. Well, there goes my job, Butt sighed. And Christmas for my kids. Thanks a lot. He rose from his Santa throne and headed to the door. Wait, Baron yelled as he followed. You still have to tell us about the real Santa. I don't have to do shit for you now that you got me fired. Get fucked. Bye. Please, Santa man, Dweem called from behind them. Baron and Butt turned to find Dweem sitting in a Santa's throne. in Santa's throne, trying to look like a sad puppy with developmental issues. But since he was just a dumpy fat kid, or possibly a dumpy fat adult with a greasy bowl cut and clothes that smelled like porta potty aged cheese, it looked pathetic in a way that he wasn't going for at all. Baron frowned and shook his head in fatherly disappointment, and Butt shook his head in fake Santa-ly disappointment. Man, y'all are annoying, he muttered. I mean, you're just genuinely unlikable people. And Guitar Spider Monster, Grindex added. Oh yeah, and Guitar Spider Monster. How could I ever forget something so cool? The Santa imposter said sarcastically. He was really starting to act like a dick, but Baron let it slide in order to hear about the top Seeks. Luckily, his patience paid off. Look, Butt began, I'll tell you the secret. A, if you leave me alone, and B, because you'll probably get killed on your quest. Deal, Baron agreed. This park, it changes at night. Just wait until 12:25 CM and you'll see. CM? Christmas magic time. Not child molester time or Chinese moo time or anything else stupid or offensive. So don't even start. Whoa, project much? Baron replied indignantly, even though he was trying hard not to crack up at Chinese moo time. Sorry, I'm just tired. Y'all are tiring. Stay here till 12:25 CM. That's when their haunted house is open. That's when they all come out. Baron became instant intrigued. Whoa, who? The 13 Creeps. The 13 Creeps of Christmas. Spooky Basement Volume 2. The 13 Creeps of Christmas. Cue theme song when in your imagination. Chapter 5. Baron Grindex and Dweem left the Nog Lodge feeling repumped and reprimed. All they had to do was wait till 12:25 CM and they could find Santa and get their wishes. Unfortunately, none of them carried a watch or had enough friends to warrant having a cell phone, so they spotted a Christmas Kingdom worker and busted up to ask her for the time. Excuse me, elf, do you know what time it is? Baron asked politely. What did you just call me? The worker said as she spun around in her bell-tip shoes. Elf? Sorry, I forgot you're a girl, elf. Elfstress, elf madam. I'm a little person, you fucking jackass. Ooh, fuck. Baron replied as he turned the color of a Christmas hollyberry against Christmas snow at Christmas. I'm super sorry. Let me try again. Excuse me, little person. Do you have the time? My name is Cindy, fucko, not little person. Somehow that's even worse than elf. Oh, like Cindy Lou Who, Dweem said with a smile that caused his fat cheeks to slam his eyes shut. No, like an independent adult whose parents named her Cindy 25 years ago when she was born. A Cindy who now works at a stupid fucking Christmas park so she can pay off her college loans and medical bills. A Cindy who used to be marketing relations manager at a Fortune 64 company, but once she needed neck surgery, her boss fired her for being her boss. God, it's killing my throat.
That's not rough.
Fired her because her disproportionately large ass was sending his insurance rates and blood pressure through the roof. Really wish Cindy had recorded him saying that, but she didn't. So now she works here. Laminectomies don't grow on trees, you know. Of course you do. Anyway, what did you need? Help understanding how to tell time? Damn, Cindy, sorry. Baron apologized. But yeah, what time is it? 12:20. The building behind the definitely not an elf exploded in red and green flames, and spooky organ covers of Christmas carols started blaring from speakers hidden inside decorative presents. The kid zone of the park shut down immediately. Oh no, Cindy cried as she attempted to scramble away. You fucking idiots made me late, and now... A candy cane bust through her throat, sending her precious vertebrae and surgery-grade screws spraying in every direction. Baron and Grindex knew to turn their heads and bust a sweet power stance, but this was Dweem's first proper adventure, so he screamed and cut most of the grossness across his eyes and in his mouth. He began to scream harder. Baron and Grindex turned back around and unassumed their stance. 5, Chinese moo time, Grindex coolly finished. Baron was torn between cracking up at his buddy's callback and comforting his dumb son, so he remained at pump equilibrium and did nothing but nod and dart his eyes around like crazy / usual. One of the sights his peepers picked up was an intense elf monstrous who held a candy cane at crotch level. It was covered in LP guts. The candy cane was, not the elf or her crotch. The crotch was kind of covered, but not nearly as much as the candy cane. Greetings, boys, the elf screamed in a British accent as she leapt over Cindy's corpse. Fine day for a Christmas, isn't it? Ooh-wee, I guess, Baron declared, really feeling this monster's pump. Are you one of the 13 creeps? Creeps, the elf monster said, typo there, as she popped the candy cane into her mouth. Creeps with a K, not creeps with a C. Do not let the Eiffel Tower fool you, friendo, for we are not crepes. The fart, Baron Bolt. Crepes and creeps, which I said are totally different words. The elf was being super annoying, but he felt a twinge of sympathy because he kind of identified with her annoyingness / overthinking of dumb stuff like letters. But then he felt an oncoming tidal wave of sympathy for everyone he's done something similar to, so he quickly quashed that. Anyway, can you tell the difference between a C and a K when they... No, the elf interrupted with a shudder. The K is of utmost importance. I can't stress enough the importance of the K. She winked at Baron. Dweem thought she was winking at him, though, so he began popping a microscopic bone. Some would describe it as a little wobbling penisi. Yeah, Dad, Dweem said cavalierly. She's not a Christmas Kingdom creep. She's a Christmas Kingdom. The elf smiled maniacally. You've got it, fat tits, she whispered as she licked the last drop of blood from the candy cane. Big fat boy tits. Premature balding fat boy stupid tits. Finish it. Creep, Dweem finished in a sad whisper. Oh, get the fuck out of here, Baron yelled pissedly. Christmas Kingdom creeps? KKK? What are you, fucking Nazi elves? Of course not, the elf laughed. Don't be silly. That'd be as cliche as if we were all robots run amok, or effeminate dentists. We were just like the letter K. You can trust me. I would love to see your body beneath your skin, by the way. Or we could take a long subdermal look at your chubby alopecia boyfriend. I imagine you look like a snowman underneath that pastry flesh, don't you? A gelatinous snowman. We could put salt on the snow and watch it roil. Yo, put a bookmark in that shit and stay with me, Baron demanded. Yeah, Dweem yelled, and I'm not his boyfriend. I'm his cool single son, and I'm really strong and single. The elf bit her lip till it bled slightly. Bookmark your bullshit too, Dweem, Baron chastised. I haven't said anything, Grindex said proudly. And don't think I haven't noticed, Baron responded just as proudly. You're being a very good Grindex. Dweem kicked a tiny pebble and muttered something under his breath. See, my best friend / guitar / spider monster is black, Baron started. So you can either be a Christmas Kingdom creep, C, or a Christmas Kingdom crep, but you definitely can't be a Christmas Kingdom creep, the K. We're not abiding that shit for a fuck second. The elf winced. You win. Creep is fine, with a K. She said with a sly grin, this is more of a visual chapter. Ooh, bitch, Baron snapped. I can totally hear the difference now. It's either C or we're out of here. Why would I care if you leave? She said while phallically popping the candy cane back into her mouth. Because then you won't be able to skim my son and pour salt on him. True, she replied thoughtfully. She removed the candy cane from her mouth. It now had a crazy sharp point. I would need help holding him down, pouring cold water on his face so he'd stay awake. Someone to run the camera. Dad, silence, baby boy. Look, elf, or little person, just in case. You have your Christmas wish and I have mine, Baron said. Tell me where Santa is so I can get my shit and I'll help you get yours. Deal, the elf replied. She stuck the candy cane back in her mouth and pulled a map from the inside of her curly, bell-tipped hat. Baron immediately snatched the map with his left hand and punched the candy cane with his right, skewering the elf monstrous a la reverse Cannibal Holocaust, so the pointed end was sticking out of her crotch. There, Baron chuckled. You just got yours, bish. Nazi-ass bish, Grindex clarified. My girlfriend, Dweem wailed. He ran over to her corpse and tried to pull the candy cane out, which only caused more elf blood / slime to squirt all over. Dude, she wanted to torture you, Baron said, and fucking film it. Yeah, but only because she liked me so much. She was all up on the piece. No way, Grindex said. She was obviously into your pops. I was next in line. You were on cleanup. Don't cleanup hitters go forth? Nah, I mean you'd be cleaning up after us. On your hands and knees with a paper towel, crying and shit. Oh, fuck. Baron cracked up. Grindex, that was freaking brutal. Out of nowhere, too. Dweem muttered something and kicked what he thought was another pebble, but was actually one of his girlfriend's bloody teeth. He knelt down and surreptitiously put it in his pocket. All right, let's see, Baron said while opening the map and still chuckling. Ah, there he is, Baron said after a quick scan. See the little Santa symbol? Dunzo. Which one? Grindex asked. What do you mean, which one? It's a Santa symbol, right? Baron looked at the map again. There were 13 Santa symbols on it. Well, fuck knockers, he lamented. Looks like Dweem killed his elf monster girlfriend a bit too prematurely. Now we've got to hit up every Santa in the park until we find the real one. Wait, I thought I was the one who... Dweem began. Stupid Dweem, Grindex yelled as Baron lovingly slung him across his back and the duo headed into the park. Sorry, Pops and Uncle Grindex, Dweem said contritely. He took one last look at the dead body of his beloved, apologized to her, then bounced after his dad like a greasy pug super ball. Let's see. Do you want to take the next one, or do you want to? Elf? Monster?
Sure.
Okay. Sure.
Elf monster coming in.
Elf monster coming in. Or wait, she's a
Much excitement.
reindeer monster.
Reindeer.
Even better. Enter if you dare. Would you mind grabbing me some agua fresca? Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Welcome
glasses
to the
might
party.
fall, so super loose. All right,
Chapter 6.
chapter 6. My spectacles on. I can't do voices quite as good as him, so
Go to
this is
town.
going to be a mess. All right, Baron thought aloud. There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13 Santa symbols on this map. All right, yeah, Grindex whispered as he understood the pump in that number. Dweem wished it had been fewer because he had already been tired. But he was already getting tired. Which one should we start with? Baron asked as he dropped the map from his peepers to get a better understanding of his surroundings. The fountain's ice water had turned from red and green to mostly just red, making it super ominous. Christmas tree ornaments the size of blue ribbon mutant pumpkins chilled in every alcove, where pink and green incandescent lights reflected jack-o'-lantern-esque eyes and something across their bulbous glass bodies. Above them, snowmen with melty, dreadful faces lined the sidewalks, and the once innocuous gingerbread facades of candy shops and storytime villas had perverted their shapes into looming, albeit still mostly gingerbread haunted houses. Even the Eiffel Tower had transformed into a baller beyond belief fact or fiction ice tower, which rose 25 stories high and glowed such an intense, deep cobalt blue that it maybe looked sweeter than blacklight. Damn, Baron whispered in total awe. I had no idea Christmas could be this badass. And just think, Grindex whispered back, if you're this pumped about it now, imagine how nuts it'll look if you get your wish and you see it at max pump. How? Baron stammered. How did you figure out my one true Christmas wish? Let's just say it was child molesters. I don't follow. Remember that fake Santa that was talking about how CM stood for Christmas magic and was not child molested or something? What was his name? Butt Island Man? Butt Breath Island Man? Oh, yeah. Dee's callback. Sorry. It seems like a lot of shit has happened since we got here, but also like friggin' nothing has happened. Makes it hard to keep track. So wait, Dad, Dweem interjected. Your wish is to be at maximum pump? Yeah, Mang. What'd you expect? I thought we were both trying to get you and Mom back together. Hell no. I'm trying to get my pump up, and let's just say your mother hasn't been good at getting anything up for years. Baron and Grindex took turns doing Rodney Dangerfield. Hey, and ho, to the delight of a passing abominable snowman monster. But aren't you already at max pump? Dweem pressed, ignoring Baron's insult about his mom, mostly because he didn't understand it. I mean, isn't this the best time of your life now that we're hanging out? Baron cracked up so hard that the abominable snowman monster stopped in his tracks and looked back. The dude seemed to be having a really good time, so for a moment he thought about...
Hey, oh, hey.
How the hell are you?
So for a moment he thought about busting over to see if he could hang out with them.
Nope.
Okay.
You're doing awesome.
But then he worried he might be bringing the party down since he wasn't that great at small talk, so he sadly plodded along. No friggin' way, Dweem, Baron said after catching his breath. You're okay and all, but I was definitely most pumped when I was a kid. Now shit sucks, hurts all the time. Ah, true, Grindex echoed. Oh, Dweem said sadly. He looked at the ground and stuck his hands in his pockets. He began to fiddle with the elf's tooth. Baron patted his fat son's fat shoulder with his tough dad/callous sausage fingers. Look, homie, it's super obvious that the real Santa is in the final boss ice tower. So let's do something fun before we go see him. Check out that haunted house over there. Dweem turned to see the 2-story Victorian house facade a few feet down the sidewalk. Above the porch hung a hand-painted sign that read in the blood-colored font with a green slime outline, "The Nightmare Actually on Christmas." "Really?" Dweem asked hopefully. "You want to hang out with me rather than do errands?" "Big time," Baron replied. He mostly wanted to hit up the haunted house himself, but if that meant some collateral pump for his son, he was all for it. The trio busted over to the entrance where a lantern flickered the perfect color of jack-o'-lantern above a chubby chick wearing ghoul makeup and all black cloak. "Welcome to your doom, mortals." I guess I don't have to do girl voice. "Welcome to your doom, mortals."
Lucky.
She called as they approached. "Oh my fuck, this is already perfect," Baron muttered. "No photos or video recordings are allowed in The Nightmare Actually on Christmas." Yes. Baron breathed. Fog. He started popping a bone. "Do not touch the monsters and they will not touch you," the ghoul continued. Grindax popped pink thing. "Now, enter if you dare," she said as she pulled aside the heavy tarp that served to the front door. "For all you fear is here."
Yeah, King's Dominion quote.
Baron's pump divinity rod led the way into the haunted house. The first room was set up like an antechamber. Classic spooky wallpaper lined the walls, and an ornate chandelier glowed from the ceiling. In the corner, a dry skeleton tree posed an imminent fire threat. Next to it stood a chubby dude wearing ghoul makeup and all black cloak. "Welcome to your doom, mortals," he said while waving a white glove in front of his face. "You picked a terrible night to join us, or perhaps a perfect one. It is December 25th, and I am Sapalo, your ghoul guide." How do you say it?
Sapala.
Yeah,
Sapalo,
perfect.
cool.
Apollo.
No,
Leave
please.
that reference out so we don't get sued.
Now, please make haste. No cell phones or flashlights, and follow me if you dare. The ghoul parted a heavy tarp and entered the dark corridor. Dream wondered who would bring a full flashlight into a haunted house, and then he got a nervous dumb feeling for not thinking to do so himself. "On this night," Apollo continued, many spirits are said to roam these hollowed, haunted halls. Can you see them? I assure you, friendos, they can see you." He led the dudes down a narrow hallway lined with sconces and paintings of lenticular portraits whose eyes were supposed to follow you. But some of them were broken, so they didn't follow you at all, and a few were half broken, so only one eye followed you. The ghoul guide eventually reached a pair of olive green curtains and stopped. "Now, I must leave you," he said worriedly, "for the next room is far too terrifying, even for a seasonal spook such as myself." He turned and exited through a hidden door in the wall. Baron scrambled to find the hidden door opening so he could live in the haunt forever, or at least however long it takes before you starve to death. But Dweeb had been walking with his eyes slammed shut, so he pushed his dad and uncle through the curtains like gladness freight train. The three dudes crashed into the ground and looked up apprehensively, bracing themselves for whatever horrors were promised by Sapalo. In an otherwise bare room, a 6-foot-tall gingerbread man wearing a Santa hat stood in the middle of a clawfoot bathtub. "Boo!" he yelled. "You should have never come into my house on this Christmas night, Mare!" Baron's bone deflated to half-mast, but the clawfoot tub and bad pun kept things going. He stared at the gingerbread man, who after a few awkward seconds nodded his head behind him to the door with a glowing exit sign above it. Fall exit to the left," he said nervously. "Sorry, my left. You're right." "You gotta be fucking kidding me," Baron gasped. That's the entire haunt?" "Yeah, that was awful," Dream said, even though he was relieved it was over. I know, the cookie character said sadly. He relaxed his posture and sat on the lip of the tub. "I wish it were longer, believe me, but we have to keep the haunted houses super short so we have more of them. It's a finance, well, really a marketing thing." "More like a bait and switch thing," Baron said incredulously. "A bullshit and switch thing, actually." I know, the gingerbread man repeated with a sigh, his posture melted even more, morphing himself into the shape of a clinically depressed sea. My name isn't Ashley, by the way. It's Stampy.
Stompy.
Stompy. I mean, you can call me Ashley if you want. I probably deserve it. I'm super tempted, Baron said. But since you feel bad about everything and claim it's not your fault, we'll agree to call you and we'll call you Stompy. That's fine too. Stompy and the crew stared at each other. So if you want to chill it for a while, I have a baguette here. You're welcome to it. The gingerbread man pulled a loaf of bread out of the tub and extended it. Dream started moving toward it, but Baron grabbed him by the collar. Wait a minute, Stompy, he said. Isn't there supposed to be a Santa in this haunt? There was a Santa icon over on the map. Yeah, Stompy replied with a painted smile. He directed his eyes upward. I mean, I do have a hat. Oof, my fucking, Baron growled. But you don't have the magic, right? Because you're a little gingerbread liar, baby. That would be correct. Let me take another wild guess. The real Santa, the one with the magical powers, is to grant wishes, is in the one place that isn't a shitty warehouse with a particle board facade. Baron pulled out the map and pointed to the ice tower, smack dab in the middle. Prosecco will probably help.
Yeah. An inch.
Baron pulled the map out and pointed to the ice tower smack dab in the middle of the map. I'm actually not allowed to say, Stompy said sadly. I'll get shit canned. Why would you care if you aren't even pumped about your haunt? I don't know, because it's enough. Oddly, I'd rather be in a bigger, spookier haunt. I want my entire universe to be about that. I care about haunts in a way that I don't care about anything else, even buttered popcorn, Mike, and ice. Do you ever read about ontology? Nah, Baron replied. Yes, Grindax lied. No, sir, Dweem replied anxiously because he was scared of what was technically a haunted house monster. Dang. The gingerbread man sighed. Well, do you at least understand the reality that is subjective? Everyone remained silent because no one knew what subjective meant. What is reality for one gingerbread person, or whatever y'all are, is different for another. It's based on our upbringing, experiences, cultures, and otherwise belief systems. Sorry if those are too redundant or reductive. But we all each have our own perception and consequently our own version of reality. Baron was getting sleepy / bored, but he felt bad for this dude, so he chilled a bit longer. And our own version of an ideal reality, the monster continued. Baron's palm peaked. Do you ever fuck with Play-Doh? Are you sure you don't want any of this baguette? Anyway, my ideal reality is this. I want my haunted house to be infinite. I want it to be an infinite version of the ones I used to go to when I was a kid. But if it were infinite, it would have to be beyond that, beyond what I've experienced and come to call a haunt, and indefinitely so. See, that's the problem. The physical world, this part, is a shadowy reflection of that ideal reality. My ideal reality can't exist, so this one has to be enough. What else can I do? Become a fucking gingerbread accountant? Baron nodded politely. Damn, this is a pretty tortured gingerbread monster, he thought. But that was also a stupid long way of saying I script the goodie off. Why don't you just ask Santa for your ideal optometry? Grindax asked. Nepotism. Well, why don't you ask him for your ideal nepotism? Cute. Stompy said sadly. He sank into his tub and chomped down on his baguette. Chomped down. Anyway, I think I want to be alone for a while. Y'all can go back through the portrait hallway if you'd like, or chill with Apollo up front. Yeah, Baron replied. I'm always down for portrait hallways / Apollo chilling. Grindax? FY! Grindax replied. Which means fart, yeah, dweeb. Oh, the little bosom baby who is with you? Stompy said with a mouthful of bread. That dude left like 10 minutes ago. Hope he's okay. Shit gets crazy out there. That's why I live here. A bathtub might not be the first place you'd expect to find a gingerbread man, but Baron and Grindax didn't hear the rest of the long-winded, spicy-scented explanation because they were already out the door and searching for Dream in the veritable blizzard of remaining Christmas creeps.
Beautiful. Sunday.
Back to you.
Back to Teal's.
Oh.
Your
Nice.
excellent.
Grunt.
Anybody watching?
That's, yeah, like 6 people.
Dweem! Baron Caldwell pushing past flurries of elf monsters, pine tree monsters, eggnog monsters, popcorn tin monsters, and oranges with cloves stuck in the monsters. Little bosom baby! Gorendex Caldwell being dragged past those same monsters because he was slung across Baron's back. Yo, Pops! Uncle G! Over here! An obese voice echoed from the distance. Uncle G? I don't like that. It makes me sound like a douche who wants to be called that. Gorendax said as Baron ran with him over the sound of a chubby cry. It came from the ice tower. Well, not so much from the ice tower as a mile away from it, where Dweem stood at the end of a mile-long line. Ugh. Just painful memories.
Yeah. Astroworld.
Ugh. Pour out a sip for Astroworld. What are you doing here? And why'd you just leave like that? Baron demanded when he caught up to Dweem. Are you trying to get touched by a stranger? Nah, Dad, Dweem responded. But once the gingerbread man said he was the real Santa, and then we started talking about all that boring stuff, I ran out here to wait in line so we could see the big guy soon. Baron thought. Okay, you're deaf not grounded, but you're still dangerously close to being touched. Look at that taffy fuck over there in the bushes. Dweem turned his head and saw a pink-striped anthropomorphic taffy monster writhing in the bushes. When their eyes met, the monster's eyes narrowed and the writhing intensified. See, it's friggin' perv city out here, but thanks for waiting in line. You're not the worst son ever. Thanks, Pops, Dweem said with a smile. So, are you pumped to meet the big guy? Would you stop calling him that? Baron snapped. It's weird enough they're all like 80 years old and waiting to meet Santa. He doesn't need a baby-ass nickname on top of it. And don't call me Uncle G, Gorendex added. Jeez, okay, sorry, Dweem said solemnly. This is already taken for fuck ever, Baron growled. Don't they have some kind of fast pass or something to let us skip the line? This is the fast pass line, Dweem said. His eyes lit up. It was $200 each, but it's okay because it's Christmas. Merry Christmas, Dad. Merry Christmas, Uncle Gorendax. Dweem extended his chubby little paws, and each one he held a holographic green pass with Christmas Kingdom line cutters. It's definitely with a K. Emblazoned in pink letters on the front. They're shameful. Baron snatched both of them and grimaced. Oh, fucking weak, he shouted. This is the fast pass line, and it's still infinity long? And again with the triple fucking Ks? Should we even be here? Is Santa gonna have a fucking hood over his head? Bart, this place sucks. Sorry, Dweem repeated. His head began to feel really hot, and he nervously curled and uncurled his toes and his shoes. Baron saw the effects of the toxic anti-pump he was spraying, and he immediately felt guilty. No, son, I'm sorry, he said while patting Dweem's gelled-down bowl cut. I'm being a big douche. This gift rules, and this place should rule, but it's not your fault that it doesn't. And I'm sorry I said not to call me Uncle G, Gorendax said while extending a razor wire string and patting Dweem on the bowl cut, which cut into a gelled-down middle part. Honestly, loved the name right from the start, but I didn't know if other people / guitars would think it was cool, so I told you to fuck off just to be safe. You didn't actually tell me to fuck off, did you? Dweem asked wearily. Shush, baby, Gorendax said while moving his low E string over Dweem's bottom lip and cutting it into a middle part. Yeah, everyone silence immediately, Baron said. Realized that while they were hashing out their bullshit, the line had moved all the way to the entrance of the ice tower. We're almost in. The trio passed under a giant cobalt stone archway and prepared to enter the Christmassy keep, but then they turned the corner and instead found themselves in another line. Mm-hmm. Infinity people snaked through a hedge maze, downstairs in what looked like a dungeon filled with bubbly / perverse marshmallow monsters, up a spiral staircase wrapped around a spire, which have surprisingly different etymology. Across a bridge, over a rampart, and down another spiral staircase. Baron shot his eyes to the 25th floor of the tower and finally saw where the little buckets were to put your sunglasses / hats so they don't fly off when you meet Santa. Fuck fart this, Baron yelled. He dropped his voice to a scheming whisper. All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll tell the workers that Dweem is all fucked up and see if they let us skip the line. Dweem, just be yourself and otherwise keep rocking that gelled middle part and bloody lip. We'll be fine. The trio pushed past a metric Max Dibble million of people until they reached the top of the tip of the tower. Excuse us, Baron said to a ripped elf monster security guard who stood 12 feet high and had a 24-pack. Beyond the guard, Baron could see a fat dude in a Santa suit, king chilling on an ice throne. A little baby sat on his lap in king cheese, while baby elves wearing lederhosen, the suspender buttons positioned right over their nipples, took pictures. Behind them, a giant glockenspiel blasted covers of Christmas tunes, and an army of plump grandmas buzzed around the room and made sure everyone was stuffing their face cheeks with cookies or cheese at all times. Excuse you's right. The line's back there. The elf guard boomed as he gestured miles into the distance. I meant, excuse us because my son's all fucked up, Baron pressed. So we need to see Santa immediately. Look at this friggin' guy. He's a mess. Hi, how are you? Dwayne asked. As soon as he spoke, his blood-crusted lips unintentionally blew a humongous bubble that popped and sent spit shotgunning out of the elf guard's costume. Oh, fucking nasty ass. The towering tower guard yelled. Oh, what? My son disgusts you? Baron gasped in his best affronted mom voice ever. I heard it all, Grindex yelled. He said Dwayne was nasty, and then he said something about fucking his ass. It's friggin' lawsuit time. This entire place is going to be shut down, and you're going to prison for life. No, that's not what I said, the guard pleaded while wiping bloody spit across his holly green jumper, which made it look even more Christmassy. I heard it too, a mom with a fanny pack yelled from behind Grindex. He definitely said something about fucking children, and then he pointed at my little strimmy and made a kissy face. Lawsuit time. We're driving out of here in a platinum gold car. What? No, I didn't. There's no such thing as platinum gold, the elf stammered. What's up, Nazi? A dad wearing a hat with ear flaps yelled from further back in line. Now you got something against Latin old people? No, please, just listen, the guard tried. Well, guess what, asshole? The dad continued. My father was a Latin old person, and he died fighting you Nazi scumbags in Vietnam. I've heard enough, the mom yelled. Even though she didn't know the dad, she thought he was kind of cute. So she rushed the elf and stepped right on the monster's curly-toed shoes in an attempt to impress him. Look at this guy. He's got curly-toed shoes, she yelled as the elf buckled from the foot stomp and landed right into a mom fist-sized uppercut. Yeah, what a fucking freak, the dad shouted in glee. Let's push him over the side. Kill him! Kill! They both began to chant. The rest of the line joined in, not only the chant, but the attack. All their eyes widened so you could see the white above their irises, which is never a good sign. And they set upon the weeping elf guard, kicking, punching, biting, and filming him until he lost consciousness. The crowd lifted the elf and threw him over the lip of the stone wall, sending him plummeting 25 stories to the ground, where he crashed through a Sub-Zero Shards ice cream cart and was impaled by literally hundos of the flash-frozen confection particles. As the ice cream melted into his veins and vital organs, the cold shocked him back to consciousness long enough to look up at the faces of his murderers, their faces nebulous, except for the gleaming white of their eyes. He reached into his corduroy pants and pulled out a small remote. With his last bit of thumb strength, he pressed a shiny red button and prayed that his god would accept him into the kingdom of misfit security guards. As Baron, Grindex, and Dwayne turned from the violent scene and made their way toward the glowing warmth of Santa's throne room, a metal door slammed in their faces and sirens went nuts.
Excellent.
Keep
Got
going?
chapter 8 too? Yeah.
All right.
Going up.
Thanks. So. We got some comments a minute ago. Let's see.
Shout out to the 5 people watching.
You're the real heroes.
Mega shout out to my dad who is taking pictures of the screen upstairs. Pops. Multiple pictures of
King
this camera.
Pops. All right, here we go. Within seconds of the alarm sounding, an army of elf security guards swarmed the ice tower like bitch-ass squash vine borers on the pumpkin crop of a dude who really needs those goys to deal with the bullcrap of his daily life. Who did it? Who killed X8 Whizzle Teats? They demanded. He was only 25 years from retirement. Dang, that kind of seems like a lot, Dwayne murmured. An elf guard who made X8 Whizzle Teats look like S2 Whizzle Teats spun around angrily and grabbed Dwayne by his third and fourth chins. What was that, fatty? I don't speak butter. Even though he was surrounded by monsters twice his age, his size, and half his age, Baron swung Grindex around and played a black metal riff intended to blast flame columns out of his best friend / guitar / spider monster's fangs. Instead, a couple of charcoal briquettes plopped out of Grindax's mouth like constipated dump pellets. Baron's eyes followed them as they clattered to the ground. His eyes shot up to the elf guard, shaking Dweem by the chins. Neither had even noticed Baron's attack. Everything began moving in slow motion and sounding like it was underwater. Baron's eyes drifted over the side of the ledge. It was the dad, Grindax's voice shouted. Baron shook his head and everything became normal speed / sound again. The elf guard lowered Dweem and turned his attention to Grindax. What'd you just say? He asked Baron, since that made more sense than asking a guitar. I said, the dad killed your friend, Baron replied. And the mom. They both high-fived over him as they went to town, and they threw him over the ledge. I tried to help, but they said I would be next if I did anything. And look at me. I'm just an old dude. I can't do shit. No worries, Pops, the elf reassured. At least you can rap with the best of them. He turned to his crew and announced, all right, boys, it was a jerk-ass mom and dad who killed our friendo. Let's find him and fuck him to justice. The backup elf guards took quick stock of the line and slow stock of the entire park. It's pretty much all moms and dads here. Everyone's either a mama, a papa, or a baby. Cool, well, just fuck anyone to justice who isn't a baby, the leaf elf responded. They turned to the trio. How's about it, boys? Are you babies? Yes, Baron said sadly. We're babies. Dad? Dweem pleaded. No, not Dad. I'm a baby. We're all babies. Me too, Grindax added, even though he qualified under all, and by then the guards had already set off on their Christmas fuckwisition. Back at the base of the ice tower, Baron, Dweem, and Grindax walked in silence. All around them, the bustling crowd laughed and chatted. It sounded like static. Dad or baby? Dweem eventually cautioned. You know it's Dad, Baron responded quietly but sternly. And don't test me. I've got about a baker's dozen of groundlings locked and loaded. A dad baker's. Whew, Dweem sighed in relief. I'm glad you're not actually a baby. I was worried there for a bit. So why'd you tell those elf monsters you were? Because when you're an adult, sometimes you have to do and say shit that you don't want to. Especially when someone else can fire you, beat your ass. You'll understand when you're... How old are you, anyway? I don't know. How can you tell? Well, how many birthdays have you had? What's a birthday? They went back to walking in silence. How old are you, Dad? Dweem asked. I don't know either. I'm like 400, Grindax said. Baron exhaled. He stopped and pulled out the Christmas Kingdom map. I need a drink, he grumbled. He scanned the map. Here we are. It came upon a midnight BBA pastry stout.
Mm-hmm.
And look, it even has a Santa icon over it. Maybe that extremely Santa-y Santa in the ice tower wasn't even the real one. Let's scope it out. And drink. Coasting on pump fumes, the trio sleepwalked their way to the bar, which was housed in a log cabin made to look ancient. Yeah, you want to pull that shit up?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Reindeer Monster said the glasses are noisy on here at the mic, though, so we'll just keep it on the carpet.
Coasting on pump fumes, the trio sleepwalked their way to the bar, which was housed in a log cabin made to look ancient. It even had 1819, a good year for Earth America, a good year for pastry stouts, burned into one of its exterior logs, even though the health inspection certificate on the window said it was actually founded in 2017 by a trust fund kid with dirty blonde hair, little boobs protruding through a pastel green polo shirt, and a wife who resented and cheated on him with his buddy who had a salmon pink polo shirt and slightly hairier boobs. They busted inside and were greeted by a spindly, lily-white dweeb with a, quote, totally not racist because it's ironic, end quote, holiday sweater featuring a generic wrap with giant shades, gold teeth, and a speech bubble that said, barley wine wishes for my Christmas time bishes. She gave Baron an unimpressed look over the top of her thick, black, lensless frames. Tickets? She asked with a thin-lipped sneer. Baron busted out his Christmas Kingdom entry tickets, which the hostess looked at disdainfully before purelling her hands, even though she hadn't touched anything. I'm sorry, sir, the dweeb sighed, but this is a ticketed glassware release. If you don't have a ticket, you can't get in. We're not here for friggin' glasses. We just want beer. I talk to Santa if he's here. Well, I don't know about Santa because I'm not 3, the hostess mocked. But beer's at the bar, as it usually is. Baron busted past her without saying thanks, and we were past the 900 people waiting in line to buy a $25 glass that they would sell online for $28.50. He briefly stopped and tried to play the one busted Miss Pac-Man machine that technically made the bar a barcade, and then he finally made it to the empty bar. Behind it slumped a bartender who was rail thin, but still somehow had a belly. He sported a Hawaiian shirt, a Slayer, Sleigher, tattoo on his arm, platinum blonde beard, thick black lensless frames, and a red beanie they swore wasn't inspired by Life Aquatic, but definitely was. Yo, Baron signaled. "We have a couple beers down here?" The host did a stupid little sideways smile and tilted his head condescendingly before continuing to wipe down a beer glass. "Yo," Baron said louder. "Can we get some beers down here?" "Sorry, I thought you were calling yourselves ass clowns," the bartender said, while nonchalantly walking over. I was like, yeah, okay. Baron already hated this dude. He took comfort knowing that the bartender would be selling video games or stocking cereal if beer wasn't so trendy. But not much comfort because beer was trendy, and this dude probably got laid like crazy and made $300 a night in tips. "What'll it be?" the bartender asked, as if he was crazy put out. Baron ignored his toot, checked out the chalkboard above the bar, contained a dozen 15% ABV barrel-aged pastry stouts, and a dozen 3% ABV battery acid sours with absolutely nothing in between. "I'll take a quad barrel Fraggle Stick Cart gingerbread stout." "Double barrel wooden pickle allspice stout for me," Grindax ordered. I guess I'll try the don't forget the loofah crab apple sour," William said hesitantly. Baron Grindax and the bartender shot unimpressed looks in his sweaty direction. "Dude, what the shit?" Baron snapped. "They're all the same price, so you gotta max out ABV. Plus, the sour's gonna fuck with your heartburn," Grindax snapped. "Plus, how old are you, 14 or 40? The bartender scoffed. "Fucking dweem," Baron sighed while shaking his head. "Just the 2 beers. The real ones for the real dudes. 2 non-bullshit beers coming up. A fucking crab apple sour. Really?" The bartender muttered as he poured the beers. Dweem anxiously stuck his fingernails in the cracks of the wooden bar and followed them back and forth, staring at an AC register in the ceiling until his peripheral vision went black. As Baron and Grindax sipped their beers, Baron began to hate everything a bit less, and Grindax stayed the same because he was fine to begin with. "So, I gotta ask, are you Santa?" Baron said to the bartender as the Fraggle Stick card did its thing. "I'm a Santa," the bartender responded before fluffing his beard. "What does a Santa even mean? I guess all I care about is whether you can grant wishes. Wish granting is definitely the Santa thing. Fart. He's the one on the ice tower, huh? Maybe, maybe not. We're not allowed to say. It's kind of like how Musty Mouse, the other part, can't tell you she's really a 20-year-old intern who does coke off the flaccid dick of Goofy Duck as soon as her shift is over. Keeps the illusion up for the kids, like this little/big guy. You want some milk or something, I'm gonna do?" "I'm okay," Dweem lied. His fingernails were beginning to ache. "Right on. Anyway, so there are 13 creeps." "Creeps," Baron interrupted. "Sure, 13 creeps in Christmas Kingdom. Technically, I'm one of them, but that's only because I'm kind of a dick. Anyway, some of us chill in haunts, some of us chill in bars or shops, and one of us chills in the ice tower. The Santa, right?" Baron tried. "Can't say, man. I'll lose my gig. Just keep exploring the park and enjoy yourself." "Right on. Thanks." "No problem. You and your guitar buddy are really tough and good at socializing." Barry noticed that his beer was empty, so he paid his tab with another stolen credit card and busted out of the bar. "Thanks for coming in, guys, and have a great evening in Christmas Kingdom," the hostess said cheerfully as the trio headed out the door. "You too," Baron goofed. He couldn't believe he didn't like her before. "You're so funny," the hostess giggled, which made her boobs wiggle like water mattresses. "You should come back later, and we can make out and you can flex your muscles all over me." "We'll see, babe," Baron said coolly as he stumbled out of the bar. "Dad?" Dweem started when they were back outside and surrounded by the pumped lights and sounds of the theme park. "Yeah, son. You're a cute, good son. Come here, cute booger." "I think you're drunk." "Oh, what? Just because I was pissing on this bush? Look, your uncle will piss too. We'll cross streams. See? It's normal. We're just a normal night. A normal family, I mean. Now let's go check out some Christmas haunted houses, you fat."
Brilliant. Perfection. See, 8 people in the chat because Blair was talking to us. Chapter 9. Baron Grindax and Dweem weaved through the park, passing haunt after haunt that Baron deemed def sweet, but maybe not ultimo sweet. And if there's a sweeter one, we should keep looking for it because then our pump will be most pumped. Until the beer started wearing off and he stopped giving a shit about anything and just wanted to do whichever haunt was the closest and preferably shortest. Luckily, he hit the wall right in front of one that checked both boxes, the Backwoods Before Christmas. Man, they're pretty lazy with the naming, huh? Grindex remarked. What do you mean? Baron asked groggily. Wasn't the last one the Nogmare actually on Christmas? Nightmare, Dweem corrected soberly. Fuck, I actually like Nogmare more, Baron replied. Was that your point, Grindex, that Nogmare is better than Nogmare? Nogmare. What's it? Pornography. Yeah, I think so. Wait. So you said, just fucking go already, Dweem said in an uncharacteristically stern way as he pushed his dad and uncle through the entrance gate, which consisted of chicken wire sporadically peppered with colored vintage bubble lights. Past the fence sat a tiny trailer, flanked by inflatable decorations of reindeer holding shotguns, Santas holding shotguns, and snowmen praying while also holding shotguns. Among them, a wiry redneck elf chilled in a folding chair on the line. This is one of my favorite characters of all time. Yes. Evening, boys, and welcome to this here spook house. They call me Daddy Cool. How y'all doing tonight? Baron belched. Etch. Grindex burped. We're fine, they're just drunk, Dweem grumbled. Hey, it's past 5 somewhere, Daddy Cool said as he swigged from an appropriately colored silver and gold bullet beer can. Shit, it's past 5 here, ain't it? All dark and shit. Sure enough, Grindex replied in his best redneck voice, which wasn't very good. You got any more of those little scoots? Last one, I'm afraid, Daddy Cool lied as he kicked an almost full box of beers behind him. Wait, what are those? Those little scoots. Don't know what you're talking about, friendo. Now step right this way and enter if you dare. Fuck yeah, Baron said as he stumbled forward and entered the trailer with Grindex. Dweem hesitated outside the door and looked back to Daddy Cool. Don't touch the monsters and they won't touch us, right? He asked. Shit, these monsters will touch any goddamn thing they want. You best hold your bosoms close, son, and keep those nips inverted. The elf monster took a pull from his hand-rolled cigarette, but it was too strong of a pull and he burned his mustache a bit. Fuck, he shouted. Now stop asking so many damn fool questions and get in there before I come over there and get you, son. Yeah, son, Baron called from inside the trailer. Stop fucking around all the time. And that's a true story. So Reindeer Monster was driving around and she was, do you want to tell the story? Do you remember it? Yeah. You told me it. So you were driving around somewhere and there was some like mega ratty meth head dude, like king chilling against a convenience store. And he like kind of looked over, you were there, and he kind of looked over and he took a pull on a cigarette and it burned his mustache. He was super pissed and threw it down. And he had a fucking monster too. Like it was just perfect. It was here. Dweem sadly loped into the trailer and immediately into a bloody reindeer pelt. Aye! He squealed as he pulled the carcass aside and ran open-mouthed into another. Ooh, I hear little piggy has come to join us for supper. A female voice laughed from beyond the pelts. That's my son, my little brother, Dweem heard his dad say awkwardly near the other voice. And my nephew, brother, Grindex said next to Baron's voice. Dweem followed the sounds, pushing aside reindeer pelts that became warmer and bloodier as he walked. He eventually pushed aside a hot, dripping one and found himself in what appeared to be the only room in the trailer, a small kitchen with a wood stove, a card table, and 4 wicker chairs. Baron and Grindex sat in 2 of the chairs looking perfectly stupefied. Dweem followed their glance to the stove where a redneck Vivitch babe stirred a large cauldron. She had olive green skin, bare feet, denim cutoffs that barely showed bottoms of cheeks, and a tied-at-the-waist flannel shirt that barely showed tops of boobs. Black pigtails fell over her shoulders, and purple freckles dotted her face between purple lips and even purpler eyes. Everyone knew her areolas were purple without even seeing them. Hi there, little piggy, she cooed with a buttery southern drawl. Hi, Dweem stammered as all the blood in his body went to his heads. Go have a seat with your brother and brother-uncle. I'll have these victuals fixed in no time. Dweem floated over the table and parked it. Pops, what kind of haunted house is this? he whispered as he watched the Vivitch gingerly stir whatever was in her cauldron. Fucking rad one, Baron and Grindex whispered back in unison. The Vivitch bent over to lift the cauldron, showing bonus tan line cheek. The card table made a knock, knock, ping sound as Baron's, Grindex's, and Dweem's respective boners slammed into it. This pot is so heavy, the Vivitch cried. Which one of y'all strong boys will come help me? No one stood up for obvious reasons. Well then, I suppose I'll have to plate y'all right here. I'll plate y'all real nice. Now don't you worry. The Vivitch poured the cauldron's contents into 3 bowls and sashayed back to the table. She leaned over to place them, which caused her boobs to sway back and forth like a hypnotist pocket watch. The tabletop began to rumble. Bon appetit, she said with a mischievous grin as she turned her eyes to the bowls. The trio looked down. Each bowl contained reindeer eyes, ears, and intestines, floating in a viscous slime stew. Baron said apprehensively as he picked up his spoon. My favorite. Me too, me too. Grindex agreed less apprehensively because the spider monster in him was actually in a gross shit. Dweem didn't say anything, but he continued to stare at the Vivitch's chest. His chair began to squeak ever so slightly. Baron closed his eyes and put the spoon in his mouth. Before he could swallow, the Vivitch screamed, Ugh, fucking gross! You actually ate it? His eyes shot open. The Vivitch had backed up to the stove with a disgusted look plastered onto her otherwise perfect face. Y'all were just supposed to say, like, yuck or something and leave. It's a haunted house, you idiots. What the fuck is your brother doing? Is he pinching tips? Baron and Grindex turned their tin eyes to Dweem. He had the frantic and guilty expression of someone who was definitely pinching his peen under the table. Before anyone could react/finish, the Vivitch pulled a radio from a compartment in the side of the stove, which the dudes could now see was made of plastic. Security, I need you here immediately, she called into the device. Put your ping pongs away and book it, boys, Baron said as he grabbed Grindex and bailed through the nearest door, leaving Dweem behind. Pops, wait, Dweem shouted as he scrambled to leave a homemade Microsoft Paint business card on the table, just in case the Vivitch wanted to hit him up later. He ran after his dad and uncle and into an outdoor clearing. In front of all 3 of them stood a 7-foot-tall corn maze, which was actually made out of candy canes, so it was really a candy cane maze. Well, shit, Baron sighed. I thought this was going to be a quick baby haunt, but instead it's a bullshit planet, just like everything else in life. Welcome to hell, Grindex said in an effort to be funny, which only exacerbated the stress by reminding everyone that if there actually was an afterlife, it could be infinitely worse than what they were currently experiencing. Don't worry, we can just eat our way through it, Dweem laughed as he took a bite into the nearest candy cane. He swallowed it and took another bite, but then instantly felt sick/full. He groaned, looking up pitifully and extending his arms for comfort. Help, Dad, I ate too much candy. Baron closed his eyes and rubbed his temples. Okay, I'm fucking done with all of this. He growled as he kicked the candy canes in front of him and the ones behind that until he had an entirely clear path throughout the maze. What was at the end of it wasn't an exit, though, but another trailer. If the first trailer had been World 1-4, this one would have been 8-7. It was sextuple wide, had a full crawl space, and at least 2 window AC units. Dang, they must be rich. I mean, still poor, but rich poor, Grindex whispered in awe. As long as Santa's in there, I don't give a crap, Baron replied as he opened the door to the final boss chamber. Before them sat an obese dude in a red suit. Jackpot. Here it comes.
There you go.
This is also a true, to an extent, story. D-Dog is, or at least he's probably dead now. At one point, he was a real human who called himself D-Dog and said some of these quotes and did some of these things. Ho, ho, ho. It was like the 4th Santa they had seen in an hour. Baron hoped this was the one they were looking for. Yo, Santa, he said apprehensively. Well, I suppose I'm like a Santa. Fuck, damn it. But allow me to introduce myself. Nah, forget it. The Leica Santa rose from his shitty office chair that he had removed the arms from because he swore they were why he had neuropathy in his fingers, but it's really just from his wildly uncontrolled diabetes. He stood at least 6'3" because he wasn't cool enough to be 6'4". His skin was dark and leathery, not from working in the sun, but from chilling on his front porch, where he called out to female passersby and attempted to engage them in conversation long enough so they could be recorded on the security cam mounted above his door. He needed at least 5 minutes of footage in order to finish later. His jaundiced eyes peered below eyebrows, frosted with dermatitis, and above a beard yellowed with brandy watermelon cigar tobacco. A pockmarked gut, the same color and texture of moldy cottage cheese, hung over his piss and stuff-stained Santa pants. Everything else was equally terrible. They call me D-Dog. Don't care. Because I'm always picking up the scraps. He extended a freezer-burned ham hock can. Nah, man, Baron said matter-of-factly as he busted past D-Dog and toward the neon exit sign behind him. As he and Grindex stepped back outside, Baron turned to see Dweem still inside. He gripped the meaty hand. The hand gripped back. It began to glisten. Oh my fuck, I hate this kid so much, Baron grumbled. Dude, he's like 30 or something, Grindex returned grumbled. Baron and Grindex re-entered D-Dog's chamber just as he was about to do some gross shit to Dweem. They didn't have any proof, but the room definitely had that vibe. The air was heavy, petty, and slightly dewy. Yo, Dweem, drop that dude's gross hand at once, Baron yelled. Yeah, or D-Dog, you drop Dweem's hand at once, Grindex yelled. Technically, either approach would work, and did, because someone dropped someone's hand. Let's get the fart out of here, Baron said gruffly in his best dad voice, before everyone in this room is on punishment. Grindex swallowed hard. Dweem waddled over to the exit door. Ho, ho, no, D-Dog proclaimed. With a Frenchman's wave, the door slammed shut via fake Santa magic. Y'all can't take something from old D-Dog and expect to get the fart out of anywhere. That's not how this shit works. Not in the dirty Nerth. The dirty Nerth? Grindex questioned. Po, motherfuckers! D-Dog belched as he waddled over to the trio. Baron hated how much the waddle reminded him of Dweem's, and he made the mental note that if they ever made it home, Dweem was to immediately go on the slump to pump crash and burn diet. He grabbed his son by the case of Baja Freeze stained collar and opened the exit door, but it slammed shut again in his face. What'd I just say? D-Dog snapped as he loomed over Baron and Grindex. His breath reeked of capers and sardines, and he was way too close for comfort, especially for dudes/monsters with social anxiety disorders. Dude, I don't know. I was just thinking about my own shit. My son is fat as fuck. Just open the door so we can bail. You're not Santa, so we've got no business with you. Also, I don't want to fight/kill you because your blood is probably dirty. I don't want to get any on us. Sorry, but I don't know how to say that any nicer. That's not what I said. D-Dog wheezed as he leaned in even closer. That's not it at all. An earwax pebble fell out of his ear, and Baron watched it fall in slow motion to the ground. When he looked up, D-Dog was even closer. He could count his nose pores, but he didn't because it looked like some of them might be moving. What'd I just say? You tell me, and I'll open the door for you. You said that you wish someone made sugar cookies with sour cotton candy cubes? Grindex guessed. The fuck? D-Dog barked. Strike two, mother. Strike two. Oh yeah, Dweem chimed. You called Uncle Grindex motherfucked. Ding, 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 the Santa imposter smiled. The sores on his lips shimmered like oil slicks. We got ourselves a wiener. But I'm afraid you only half right. Y'all all motherfucked. The exit door reopened, but the dudes couldn't escape because a stream of elves poured into the room like soft serve diarrhea. Wait, y'all all? Baron asked. You all motherfucked? Did you mean y'all are? Silence, fuckworm! A tiny elf with circular glasses spat. Baron looked at the surrounding horde. There were at least 24 of them. They brandished giant sharpened candy canes in each hand, had tiny sharpened candy canes tucked behind their ears, and the jingle bells on their hats/shoes were fully polished and not fucking around. The elves turned their eyes to D-Dog and awaited his command to turn the trio into charcuterie. Baron turned his eyes to D-Dog too, but his focus was diverted to the quaking Santa gut that peeked out from beneath his filthy suit. Ho, 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 D-Dog chuckled. My belly hangs out like a dog. While Baron grappled with whether he meant his belly hangs out, like chills like a dog, or if he meant it hangs out, like physically descends, which didn't really make sense or have anything to do with a dog, the elves took it as their cue and attacked. Before Baron could play a single defense note, the elves were upon him. Fortunately, their candy canes were so blunt they immediately shattered against his rip. Still kind of hurt, though, so Baron whirlwinded Grindex to knock all the elves back. "The fart is your problem," he demanded. "You don't get to ask that," the bespectacled elf responded. "This is Christmas Kingdom, and we're elves. That means we're the good guys, and you're the bad guys." Baron grunted. He made a decent point. But then a little elf with pursed lips stuck him in the thigh with a candy cane while making eye contact. So Baron snatched it and kebabbed the fuck out of the baby in front of everyone. The elves all fell back and instantly began sobbing, kicking their little legs in the air and spreading their cheeks in a sign of submission. "Ugh, gross," Baron belched. "Everyone chill and stop crying and close your cheeks. What's wrong with you?" "We close your butt cheeks," Grindex clarified to avoid any confusion. We're crying because you're being mean to us." "What, for killing the pursed lip baby?" "No, I'm not being mean to you. I'm just showing you there are consequences for your actions. I'm helping you toughen up so the world, or at least D-Dog, isn't mean to you. I don't even want to know what the cheeks thing is about. Like, that's got to be for something." In the dark behind them, D-Dog wheezed a fog of sardines. "Only your mom cares about your tears," Baron continued. "And that's only for a couple years before you start to piss her off, too. If y'all hadn't cried and instead just been like, damn, after I killed your homie, we'd be in an entirely different reality now, one we'd both be prouder of." The elves nodded silently and dried their baby tears. "Cheeks," Baron reminded. They contritely closed shop. An elf with golf ball-sized biceps and pancake-sized pecs, suggesting he was the leader of the group, stepped forward. "Thanks, man. We didn't realize you were looking out for us, but we appreciate it. Usually when someone acts like that, they're just trying to manipulate us for their own benefit." D-Dog's office chair squeaked. Capers invaded every nostril. "Pip Terry, you open those cheeks immediately," the fake Santa snarled. "No," the kind of ripped elf snarled. He raised his candy cane and a vein the size of an eyelash popped up in his forearm. "I said open those cheeks. You do what I say because I said it." "No!" the elves roared in unison as they pounced upon D-Dog. They stabbed blindly. Compared to Baron's Ultimo rip, or at least decent for a dad rip, D-Dog's cellulite gave way like butter. The elves' candy cane spears quickly turned from red and white to red and red. "Thank you," Pip Terry said to Baron when it was all over. "You freed us." "No problem, dude. Do you want to hang out sometime?" "Fuck no," Baron stammered. "Oh. Yeah, man, no friggin' way." Okay, well, thanks anyway. I heard you the first time. Saying thanks too many times is like having half-open cheeks. Do some push-ups." Baron busted past them and kicked open the door leading back to the hub world of the park. Grindex followed him because he was slung across his back, but Dweem followed because he was crazy inspired. "Wow," the doe-eyed Chub exclaimed as they strode outside. "Pops, you rule." Immediately, an eggnog monster stepped from behind a nearby Christmas tree. He wore a poinsettia. The poinsettia or poinsettia?
It's poinsettia.
Yeah, he wore flower red slacks with his fingers over a ruffled white pirate shirt, all of which were soaked with the eggnog that comprised his body. His face sported a whisper of nutmeg mustache and two gleaming jet black clove eyes. "Jure," he gurgled with a Spanish accent. "Raul Zegul at your service." He did a little bow and eggnog droplets fell out of his pockets. He shouldn't have looked guilty about it because he was an eggnog monster, but he did, which made it seem super weird and menacing, like he shouldn't have had that shit in his pockets at all.
All right.
Feeling it?
Yeah. At our service, eh? Baroness Raoul the Ghoul. Yes, you're, how do you say, Becky Carl. Fuck Becky. Take us to Santa. The real one, not a bullshit one. Ah, but that is no easy task. Of course it's not. Why would anything be straightforward here? Especially with a fucking... What are you, anyway? Eggnog monster, Grindex answered. Jam, how do you say? Monstruo ponche de huevo. Eggnog monster, Grindex repeated. Yes, your guitarra. He knows many things. He is muy urban. Yeah, we're urban. We live in a super shitty neighborhood. None of the convenience stores near our house are part of a chain, and they'll sell cheesesteaks for some reason. Woo, y comico. Oh, that was Grandex. Fuck. Woo, y comico. The Eggnog Monster gurgled in delight. He glided over to Grindex, leaned in, and whispered with breath that surprisingly smelled more like rotten meat than eggnog. Tell me, amigo, ¿quieres gazpacho?
Ooh.
I don't like this, Grindex said worriedly. Baron took a step back and fingered a power cord. Raoul the Ghoul's clove eyeballs lolled with apparent blindness but purpose.
Mhm.
His entire body began to froth. Baron said purpose, but also real eyeballs. Grindex's fangs shot out a net of holding that ensnared Raoul, but the ghoul kept frothing until he seeped right through the sieves. Ha 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 ha! He bubbled as he stood triumphantly atop the net. Your powers, they are weak, viejo. We're not done yet, asshole, Baron yelled. He wielded a thrash metal cover of the Heat Miser theme song, which launched 8 tiny microwave lightning bolts from Grindax's eyes. The bolts looked innocuous, but when they landed on the net of holding, which was a mix of stainless steel and microwave unsafe ceramic, it exploded in a fireworks show of silver sparks and gold auroras. It burns and sizzles! The Eggnog Monster shrieked as he curdled into putrid flan. Wow! Baron cheered while watching his foe liquefy before him. What a rush! We haven't 2P wrecked anyone like that in forever. You all right, Grindex? Fuck yeah, man, I feel amazing. That old boy was like, ¿Quieres gazpacho? And we were like, ¿Quieres we fucking kill you instead? Yeah, what a total asshole. What do you think, Dweem? Pumped to see your not so old pops in action? Dweem was silent because he wasn't there. Son, what the shit? Baron yelled. Still, there was silence. A still silence. Dude, do the thing, Grindex suggested. Oh, yeah. Baron furrowed his brow and deepened his voice to maximum dad bass level. You have until the count of 3.
Ooh.
1, 2. Yo, Pops, Dweem called from above. He was ascending a hill in a roller coaster car shaped like a sleigh. Sorry, he shouted / apologized. But when that Eggnog Monster jumped out from behind the tree, I got scared and ran. And then I saw this roller coaster, so I... His voice was cut off as the sleigh car crested the hill and plummeted downward. Dweem squealed in girlish, Christmassy delight as he went along his merry way. Man, I want to be pissed, but it actually does look pretty awesome, Baron muttered. I could def use a roller coaster break after the Santa with yellow, flaky dermatitis and Eggnog Monster with rotten meat bread, Grindex agreed. The unnecessarily specific reminders made Baron's stomach churn. Me too. I'm just so tired of all these 13 creeps at Christmas. Let's take a break from weirdos for a minute. Welcome to Fuckmasters of the North Pole! A crinkly-haired elf monster with an asymmetrical face and uniform buttons buttoned in the incorrect holes shrieked as Baron and Grindex entered the roller coaster loading platform. Pleasure to meet you, friendos. My name is Pugnacious Everglades. Baron reeled with the realization that he wouldn't be getting a break from weirdos anytime soon. The only thing keeping it approximately 4% pump was the fact that the coaster was on walk-on status since everyone else was in line for the haunts. This made sense because haunts were only open for a short time during the year, while the coasters were open all the time. Some significant others failed to understand this, which resulted in more than 1,000 breakups every year. Hi, Fucknacious Everglades, Baron sighed as he climbed in the coaster car shaped like a sleigh. Shorter, smaller rider always gets in first.
Yo,
Pugnacious
hold
to
on.
that.
Is this just me or is this a thing? Because whenever we go to theme parks, I'm always like, yo, they always said as a kid, shorter, smaller rider gets in first. But it's never, only at Astroworld was it a thing.
I remember usually a bigger rider getting in.
I remember shorter. So the like 2 people watching.
We were mostly
If you
concerned
can
about
clarify.
having to sit next to the pedophile if we were the
Yeah.
odd man out.
Yeah. If you ever went with a buddy, so it was you and like your brother and a buddy. Because between us, we always had like one friend.
Or just dad.
Yeah, or dad. Someone, he would by default ride with the pedophile. But otherwise, it was a Russian roulette. Somebody would have to ride with the pedophile. And it was always, that was the thing. It was like an urban legend essentially until it happened. And when we had a buddy who, he was on the end of Dungeon Drop, which was a ride at Astroworld where you were all in a row.
Free drop.
A
Yeah.
free drop ride. And we were like, oh, dude, you got to ride with the ped this time. And we were probably like fucking like 12. He was very concerned because he's a very neurotic kid. And of course we went up, and right before it dropped, the like middle-aged dude next to him reaches over and grabs his thigh and holds it the whole way down. Yeah. So
And that's how he got touched.
that's how he got touched. And I didn't hang out with him again until he moved and came to visit and then got arrested. Thank
You can begin to see where these books come from in real life.
And I tempered it because he got arrested. And I told this story during the last live reading with Baron busting in and smashing all the stink bombs. So he did that. He busted into class, took off his shirt, smashed a bunch of stink bombs. My friend was trying to record it and he failed to do so. So then he said, okay, I'll just go do it again. So he went back to the same classroom with the same teacher and attempted it again and got arrested. But we tempered it because the original plan was for him to show up with water guns full of urine and start blasting everyone. And I was like, nah, man. This not. But now, I mean, fuck it. Like now, I wish he had done it. That would have been better. All right.
Good time.
Back to it.
Oh man. Always gets in first. Yeah. Pugnacious spat. A stream of drool flew onto Baron's shirt, but since something seemed kind of extra fucked up about the elf, he let it go. Baron placed Grindex in the left seat and then crashed into the right. He gently closed the lap bar on both of them before preparing to check out from reality for the 30 seconds he imagined the coaster would last. The elf monster grabbed each lap bar, raised it, and slammed it back into Baron's crotch and Grindex's output jack / pink thing sheath. As each dude began to vom in pain, the elf turned to a tinted booth, gave a gnarled thumbs up, and shrieked, "All clear!" The sleigh took off like a dog that heard the oven preheat noise, even though the smoke alarm only went off that one time 4 years ago. Shout out to Sweet Cora
And Sam.
and Sam.
Yep.
For a brutal 12.25 minutes, Baron and Grindex were pummeled as they roller coasted through drops, tunnels, loops, and barrel rolls. When they screeched back into the loading platform, their brains had been mushed, their stomachs crushed, and their tushes tushed. "Welcome back to Fuckmasters of the North Pole!" Pugnacious Everglades shouted in their already ringing ears. "There's no line, so do you friendos want to go again?" "No," Baron and Grindex gasped as they struggled to lift their bomb-covered lap bars. But then an obese dude wearing an airbrush dweezil, the reindeer wife beater, screamed, "Fuck yeah!" from the back car, so the elf attendant gave a second, "All clear!" and the sleigh blazed off for another 12.25-minute torture session. When Baron and Grindex finally oozed off the roller coaster after another 798 quote-unquote bonus rides, they found Dwayne waiting for them at the exit turnstile, looking as bright-eyed and rosacea-cheeked as ever. "Wow, Pops and Uncle G, I can't believe you actually went on Fuckmasters," he said in awe. 800 times, Baron said groggily. "And don't call me Uncle G," Grindex said groggily. "You've lost the privilege." Sorry, but anyway, how was it?" "What do you mean?" Baron stammered. "We only went on it because you rode it first and made it look so fun." "No, I didn't. I would never go on that ride. Way too scary." "But we saw you in a sleigh car." "All of the roller coasters here have sleigh cars. It's a Christmas park. I was riding Booze News of the Ice Capades. It's over there." Tween pointed to the entrance adjacent to the one Baron and Grindex went through. Above the gate was a large wooden sign that read, "You must be this happy to ride," above a smiling snow dog clown holding his arms out at his sides. Circular holes were cut into his paws so that riders could insert their hands and hug the mascot. "Oh my fuckness. You were on a fucking baby coaster?" Baron shouted. "Well, yeah, it looked fun." "I don't care about fun. Life isn't fun. Life sucks shit through a straw. Why are you having fun? We're fighting fizzy eggnog monsters and trying to teach you to be a man. Besides, you're friggin' grounded, so you should be more miserable than we are. What do I have to do? Ground you even more?" "No, Dad, just..." "Well, okay, buddy. You've got it. Done deal. Done deal, pal. When I'm done with you, you'll be grounded so hard you'll be fucking Chinese."
Oh.
Everyone within earshot spun around toward Baron. All the roller coasters stopped in their tracks, and a record-scratching sound echoed through the park. "What?" Baron asked petulantly. "Oh, come on. I just meant that he'll be like grounded, like in the ground." so deeply that he'll end up in China and then have to establish residency. I didn't mean he'll become a Chinese person or be fucking a Chinese person, or that either of those scenarios would be bad. Everyone just relaxed. But no one relaxed. The entire park continued to stare at Baron, who stared at his son, who stared at the ground. I guess he's right, Dweem thought. At that moment, life was anything but fun.
Beautiful. Excellent, sir. Nina?
Honor Essie with this next passage.
Yeah, true.
Oh, we'll run up the stair.
Nah, that's fine.
At least you didn't fart when you did that. Oh, man, you guys are trucking along. All right, chapter 12. Eventually, a grandma said that a Chinese restaurant in the park was being chinchi with the iced tea, and since no one under the age of 80 knew what chinchi meant, and thus assumed that the worst / most racist connotation, everyone turned their collective scrutiny to her and left Baron and Dweeb alone. The iced tea incident did nothing to distract Baron, however, who continued to silently stare at his son, who continued to silently stare at the ground. Grindax used the opportunity to take a quick nap. After he awoke feeling refreshed / bored, he suggested that the three dudes find another haunted house to hit up. Sure, man, Baron rasped, his throat dry from not talking for hours. He broke his stare. Was it you buzzing?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the chair squeaking. My D-dog chair.
He broke his stare and unfolded the map. Where do you want to go? Why don't we let Dweem pick? Grindax suggested. Because you know why. He'll pick something baby ass. Hey, I could pick something pump, Dweem said defensively as he grabbed the map from his dad. It's pumped. You get that from your mother, you know. Hey, at least I get something from her. She told me you didn't even get anything more than a birthday beach after I was born. What the shit? Why would your mom tell you that? It was during her Irish wine era. That makes sense. But what doesn't is why you suddenly think you can bust me. I'm sorry, I'm probably just hungry. Well, you're also so grounded that in a few 100,000 years you're going to be oil. The two briefly resumed their staring contest. Look, Baron started. You don't need to be a hundo sorry. I was being half a dick, so you could be half sorry, or you could be sar. But I respect that you stuck up for yourself. You should do that more often. Thanks, Dad. Hundo things are justified there, yes. And if you really want to make me proud, you should pick a baller-ass haunted house. Baron smiled and handed down the map. One pump top coming up, Dweem replied excitedly. He furrowed his chubby brow and began purposely scanning. Thanks to you most of all, Grindax, since this shit was your idea. Grindax grumbled to himself. How about this one? Dweem exclaimed. After not enough time for thorough analysis. Silent Night, Sidebird, Mountain Night. Of course you picked the licensed one, Baron said while shaking his head. Trust me, Pops, it's going to be pumped with an ED. I gotta hand it to you, Dweem, Baron said. This is definitely pumped with an erectile dysfunction. The trio stood in front of the dark ride that would have been considered ratty even for the most mischievous of traveling carnivals. A group of rats is called a mischief. Its cave-shaped facade was sun-faded to the point that you could barely make out the mural of Dracula's gorillas and big-breasted damsels with wonky eyes and 5 heads. And its sideburn-esque foliage was composed of...
Foliage. That's what I said. Foliage.
Yeah. It was composed of... I'm not even going to say it because I'm going to say it wrong. It was composed of nuclear.
It's pronounced nuclear.
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 Nuclear. Was composed of insulation bats that hung loosely under the weight of decades of chewed gum. Looks pretty scary to me, Dweem argued. What do you think, Uncle Grindax? It does have kind of a shitty straight-to-video movie with potential vibe, Grindex conceded. Plus, we may actually get stabbed in there, so that's exciting. And there's a Santa icon over this place, Pop, so maybe that's the real one inside. Yeah, a crackhead Santa, Baron grumbled. Or D-Dog's sister, Sea-Cat, the crackhead cat, Grindex joked. All right, I'm on board. Baron laughed since enough time had gone by for everyone to forget that D-Dog was terrible and not actually a dog. They walked up to the entrance, hopped into one of the automated rail cars, and busted through 2 wooden swinging doors painted like green castle doors. The first room was pitch black until a spotlight hit an animatronic dentist. It sprang to life, wielding a toothbrush in its broken, floppy arm. Don't forget to brush your teeth, crackled a loudspeaker somewhere on the floor. The spotlight dimmed, and the railcar lurched forward. What the fuck was that? Baron stammered. Did he say brush you teeth? Grindex asked impressively.
Nice echo.
And why was he holding a toothbrush instead of a trowel? Or one of those teeth clenching hooks? Or shit, intestines that were frozen and then sharpened into a knife? Or a chainsaw made of boogers? The possibilities are endless. I still can't get over the you teeth thing. Dream started pinching his thigh really hard because the haunt was his choice and it already sucked. The railcar pushed through an old tarp, which touched everybody and covered them in lice and bedbugs. In the next room, a giant ultramarine monster sat upon a throne made of ultramarine stained glass shards. The creature wore a black Santa hat between a pair of twisted horns and fox-like ears. Between them were fiery eyes, sharp front teeth like a vampire bat, and fists as big as baseballs. A spotlight hit the figure, and a high-pitched voice crackled over another speaker. Thank you for riding Silent Night, Sideburn Mountain Night. Please enjoy the rest of your visit, and don't forget to pick up a Sideburn Mountain souvenir cup from the gift shop. Wow, this is more like it, Grindex shouted. What a sweet prop. No shit, Baron agreed. The audio is lame, and there's no way a monster that cool would use such a high-pitched voice, but that just makes it even sweeter in comparison. I wonder if it was supposed to move. Let's check it out, and if it's not secured to anything, maybe steal it. Dream released his pinch and sighed in relief. The trio hopped out of the rail car and approached the throne. As soon as they got within punching distance, the monster's right arm flashed to life and into Baron's chest, sending him and Grindex flying backwards into Dweem's fortunately cushiony bosom. Gotcha, dumbass, the monster cracked as it stood. What the fuck, jerk? Baron shouted after the stars in the front of his eyes disappeared. Grindex, are you okay? Yeah, man, just pissed as a fucking mug on a Monday. A school/work Monday. Shit, this sounds like you need to chill out then. Baron weld a doom metal cover of Winter Wonderland, which morphed Grindex's fangs into 2 frosty icicles. They launched from the spider monster's mouth and directly into the Santa monster's throat. But before they could connect, they were snatched by a cobalt blur. Ha! You can keep those, man, the Santa monster laughed. Use them to ice your face. Baron's jaw dropped into utter befuddlement, in part because the monster was super fast, but also because the monster had hit him in the chest, not the face. Before he could raise the jaw back up, through a basketball-sized fist connected with it. What? The monster cackled. He walked over and dropped the icicles off. He walked over and dropped the icicles off Baron's crumpled body. What'd I tell you, dumbass? Baron picked himself up and grabbed the icicles, which immediately melted in his hands because he was so pissed/primed. That gave him an idea. You may be too fast for ice, but nothing is faster than fire. I'm sorry, I'm dropping all the voices.
No, you're fine, Bubba. You're doing awesome.
He shredded a death metal cover of Up on the Housetop, and Grindex's razor wire strings ignited into fire whips that extended and slashed at the Santa monster's chest. Ouch! Ouch! The monster howled. Watch it, man. I got my nipples pierced yesterday. Fresh nips.
Which is also a real thing that happened that we saw in Virginia Beach.
Oh, we didn't.
We
stealing
were
the story.
adjacent. We were told the story. We were in the immediate proximity. We didn't witness it, but we were there when it happened. But yeah, there was a friggin' redneck dad, and like his son. This is like 2 a.m. We were coming out of a show, and this like kid's son was like hitting him, and the dad was like, "Oh, I just got my nipples pierced yesterday. Fresh nips, fresh nips."
um.
Wait.
Wait. You're not dead / dying, Baron asked. As Grindex retracted his fire strings, the monster grabbed one and used it to light a cigar. Nah, but that shit did sting a bit, he said, while crashing back into his throne. Burned some of my chest hairs, too. Baron never felt more impotent except for the time that he tried taking his girlfriend to the bone zone of the bathroom, but then someone started taking an explosive dump at the stall next door. So, you must be the real Santa if you're this powerful, he said. Oh, wait. So,
You're fine.
as he said as he lowered Grindex. Nah, man, I'm Krampus, and I'm not even that powerful. I could probably do like 75 push-ups without stopping. Not bad. But some mofuckers around here can do like 150 with their legs elevated on a chair the whole time. I bet you're like a 31er, huh? You think that one extra is doing something, but it ain't. Baron heard the ghost of a powerful diarrhea blast in his head. The silent Tubette next to you, I bet he could do 3 push-ups on a good day. But the whole time, he'd stick his butt up in the air, making little grunting sounds like he's taking a piece. Dweem remained silent. That guitar spider thing, the monster said while nearing his eyes at Grindex and taking a puff of his cigar in the dark. He's cool. Grindex sighed in relief. If you're Krampus, Baron said with a deeper than usual voice, then why is there a Santa icon over your haunt? And why does your haunt suck so bad if you're so powerful / sweet? You see the Santa hat on me, right? This ain't a Krampus hat. It's a motherfucking black Santa hat. Boom! Qualifies. This place is all about making money, man. And Santa's equal butts and rides and dollars and registers. Shit, they could put a Santa hat on a urinal and y'all dumbasses would kiss the piss right off of it and buy a souvenir spoon to remember the experience. No, we wouldn't, Baron argued. Krampus furrowed his eyebrows and turned his head like a disbelieving mom who was just told that the pizza delivery was $122.50.
It's a Home Alone reference.
Okay, Baron admitted. Maybe Dweem would, but to be fair, he collects spoons. And that doesn't even explain why your haunt sucks so bad. Where's the screaming gorilla from the mural? And where's the Cyber Mountain tie-in? I am a bad guy, Krampus said, while clapping along with every word. How have you not figured this shit out yet? A bad guy isn't going to make a haunt super rad for y'all. He's going to make it suck ping pong. Don't get me wrong now. I got plenty of cool shit. I get dozens of cigars exactly like this one. But I ain't going to offer you one. That's a whole room filled with state-of-the-art props right behind me. We're talking augmented reality hologram monsters straight from the Orient. And nanometronics that get in your bloodstream and scare you from the inside out. I even got scented fog. You know what a 1950s asylum smells like? It smells exactly like a cloud of 1950s asylum fog. You know what a 1970s asylum smells like? It's way the fuck different from a 1950s asylum, but exactly the fuck the same as 1970s asylum fog. Baron felt a twinge of weariness about the ease with which Krampus said the Orient, but that was superseded by a twinge of jealousy about all the cool shit that Santa Monster had. I don't believe you, Baron bluffed while looking at the door behind Krampus. Not unless you let us see / smell everything. No, man, Krampus replied. That's my bedroom. You can't go in my bedroom. That shit is for females only. Besides, I don't want you seeing how my furniture and posters are laid out because you could go home and copy my style. Well, will you at least let us see where the real Santa is, Baron asked. It wouldn't make a difference. Santa isn't going to help y'all out. What are you, like 35, 50? He only hooks up kids, but not in a weird way. Suddenly, a deep Santa-ly voice behind Baron boomed, "Oh, is that so?" It's Santa.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Santa voice.
I like it.
The trio spun around hopefully and scanned the dark with their 12 collective eyes, but all they saw was a smiling mini Krampus. Oh yeah, I got a clone machine back there too, Krampus said nonchalantly. All the clones are dicks like me. That's how you know the machine was expensive. Baron attempted to play the doom metal cover of Winter Wonderland again, thinking the icicle fangs might have more effect on a tiny Krampus. But the monster caught them in his softball-sized hands and held them up to his nipples, dangling them and pretending they were rings. Haha, he's just like me, Krampus cooed. Boy, I tell you, being a dad is the greatest gift imaginable. If you ever get laid, maybe you'll find out. Anyway, y'all should probably leave now. They fucking left. Back outside the haunt, Baron felt like his head was a million degrees. He hadn't even been able to scratch the mini Krampus. And when the major Krampus assumed he hadn't even ever gotten laid, he didn't say shit and just bailed because he was told to. Maybe the elves and eggnog monsters we killed were just flukes, he thought. Maybe everyone and every monster we've ever killed was just a fluke. He became filled with dread of every stranger, wondering if he could beat them up, or if they could beat him up, or if he should at least try to beat them up despite the risk. Baron's thoughts flashed to mice swimming and faltered. His mind reeled, his head followed, and his vision went black. Somewhere above him, he heard Grindex whisper a dream about your dad getting his pump back, followed by a quip about selling the movie rights to help Baron get his pump back. His voice rose and deepened as he began a mock trailer for the movie. Baron wondered if it wouldn't have been funny in the past. It wasn't now. He felt a shock of pain in his stomach, and then everything became quiet.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Perfection. Can I see that one just
Oh,
says
yeah.
writing in it? Nice.
Yeah.
Chapter 13. Wake up, wake up, wake up! Grundex's voice yelled. Baron slowly opened his eyes and rasped. Oh, nice. Toji Monroe reference? Welcome back to life, Mang. Baron sat up. He was still on the ground, and a medic elf in a too tiny polo was standing over him, looking unimpressed. Well, I could have done that, the medic sighed. But you didn't, Grindex said. You just kept trying to kiss him. It's called CPR, not kissing. Then why was your friggin' tongue out? Yeah, and why were you pitching tents and pinching tips? Dweem added. Nothing, the elf shouted before booking it. Baron was awake as fart now. He jumped to his feet, feeling well rested and repumped. Sorry for my baby nap, boys, he apologized. It's all good, man, Grindex replied. While you were out, I figured it out. What, the fucking movie thing? Oh, damn, you heard that? Well, yeah, but no. I figured out where Santa is. In the ice tower? Nah, man, that's too obvious. The real Santa's got to be the last place you'd expect him, because otherwise everyone would be hitting him up for wishes all the fuck time. Exactly, like we are. So where is he? Where's the last place you'd expect him? I don't know, dude. Just friggin' tell me. My patient/pumper shot after passing out for some hopefully psychological, possibly physical reason. And now my mouth tastes like fucking marshmallows after you said that elf medic was trying to kiss me. But I definitely haven't eaten marshmallows recently, so I'm trying not to think about it. But he got the tip in. He said it was a medical test. I'm sorry, but Dweem was the one who actually signed the release. The tip of his tongue? Yes. Dude, where the fart is Santa? I'm up to like 3 dire as fuck wishes now. Come on, guess. You're shitting me, right? Baron asked as he, Grindex, and Dweem approached the school. A December to remember, because it's going to be on the test, was written in chalk above the entrance. Where's the one place you never see Santa nowadays? A public school, Grindex yelled. Because it's a fucking school. They're the least pumped places in the world. Look, it's not even something spooky like a December to dismember because you're going to be possessed, or even just like fucking zombie high or ghoul school. But it is a school during Christmas break, Grindex pressed. That means it'll at least be dead. Or undead, a voice cackled from inside. All right, now I'm kind of pumped, Baron admitted. The trio walked up to the entrance where a plump, middle-aged lady in a bloody teacher costume parted the curtain and let them inside. As soon as they entered, a principal monster leapt onto a desk and shrieked, You're tardy! You're gonna get a fucking detention! The threat echoed through a scratchy PA that coursed through the entire haunt, which was humongous compared to the other haunts they'd been through so far. There were no ceilings, and Baron could see the black walls zigzag for what looked like miles. The promise of a lengthier haunt, coupled with the haunt actors cursing when everyone knows that's against the rules, sent Baron's imagination racing and his pumps skyrocketing. The dudes turned the corner into a hallway filled with rusted/slimy lockers, screaming eyeball clocks, and janitors wheeling mop buckets filled with guts. They proceeded into a cafeteria filled with legit school cafeteria tables, not props, and vintage real Ghostbusters and Mighty Max lunchboxes. High school-age monsters of various breeds, shapes, and coolnesses dined on rectangular pizza while sipping OG scary blackberry Kool-Aid with full fucking sugar and dye the color of blacklight, not the scary berry variety that replaced it likely because of one crabby mom. And it's utter bullshit that has ruined the past, like, fucking, 2, if not 3 years of what should have been amazing Kool-Aid. As Baron passed through another hallway, he couldn't help but feel that something was familiar. The trio walked by a classroom where a fish monster teacher yelled at a vape wolf, telling him to wipe the eraser shavings off his desk, even though he'd only erased 2 math problems and planned on doing it anyway. In the back of the room, a vampire with pink bangs in the shape of upside-down crosses awkwardly attempted to hit on a goth babe who was trying to revive a dead frog and who was definitely at least 18 years old. Dad, doesn't that look like... I don't see it, Baron interrupted/lied. But the whole haunt was giving him intense Truman Show/Ed TV vibes, neither of which he had particularly liked nor seen since he saw him in theater, but both of which he thought about almost every week for some reason. To alleviate his discomfort, it is true. To alleviate his discomfort, he powered through the rest of the rooms until he got to one with a big glowing exit sign above it. The room was decorated like a science lab, and in the center of it sat a female monster of color, Priestem Major, who'd been through a lot in life but still somehow managed to stay focused. She toiled over various lab instruments while muttering excitedly to herself. On her head was a Santa hat with built-in blast goggles. Dweem pushed past his dad and uncle to approach her, but Baron caught him by the collar and said, "Forget it, man. There's no way she can be the real Santa." The lights of the haunt blasted on, and an army of security monsters rushed in. "Excuse you?" they demanded in pissed harmony. "Did you say she couldn't be the real Santa?" "Yeah, because how dare you?" "I just meant because how absolutely dare you, sir?" "She can't be the real Santa because she's too busy doing real shit," Baron quickly fired off. "I mean, look at her. She still hasn't even noticed we're in here." The girl continued muttering something about how her research will save her precious Billy Kitty Handsome Boy. "See, she's curing cat diseases or something, and we're just over here screaming and farting at each other like assholes." The security monsters looked down contritely and tried to hold their farts in so they wouldn't punctuate Baron's point. But then one realized Baron still said the phrase "she couldn't," so that was enough for the guards to grab, twist, and throw the dudes out of the exit door by their arm hairs/guitar strings. As the door to the haunt closed in Baron's face, he took a final look at student Santa and realized he would never know or do half the stuff she was already knowing and doing. He turned around to find Dweem pensively nursing his twisted arm hairs. "At least there's hope for my son," Baron thought. "Maybe he can accomplish everything I didn't." Dweem stuck his hands under his armpits, began flapping his arms like a bird, and made stupid little quack sounds while spinning around and looking to his dad and uncle for approval. "That's right, Dweem can't even make toast without crying," Baron remembered, "so I failed at life twice." He grimaced and walked away, taking Grindex with him. "Pops, Uncle G, wait, look it," Dweem called. He stuck his hands into his armpits deeper and flapped harder, thinking it would make his dance funnier, but all it did was push his boobs together and give him cleavage. He looked up, but his dad was gone, replaced instead by a very approving ragdoll.
Oh, yes.
Pass it over. Thanks, Bella.
And now, To Catch a Predator, Spooky Basement Edition.
Yeah. Chris Hansen tapping in.
I'm busting it. What are you doing here today? The doll stood roughly as tall as Dweem, with about as large of a belly. His taffy pants were held up by licorice suspenders, and his black and orange generic Halloween candy eyes were just asymmetrical enough to convey that something was amiss. Perched above the candy eyes was the Santa hat covered in an unidentifiable/scaly crust. "Why, hello there, young man," the doll said in a high/warbly tone. "My name is Renato Cheech. Your mommy told me to come pick you up. She's hurt real bad. Come with me, and I'll take you to the hospital to see her." "Mommy Skins?" Dweem shouted in a panic. "Yes, that's her.
Mama Skins was in a car accident wherever she lives, but she says she loves you and wants to see you right away. Come back to my house and we'll go post toasty. That's French for very fast. Okay, let me just get my dad and uncle first. But there's no time for that, Renato Cheech gasped. You must come with me at once. Wait a minute, Dweem said cautiously. What's the Top Seek's pickup password that Mom gave you? Only she and I know it. Renato looked Dweem over and guessed, pancakes with melted gummy bears as syrup. Poor Mommy Skins, come on, let's go. Most excellent. My house is right over there. Let us away. The ragdoll monster pulled the cape from behind his back and over his chest, and then he pranced over to a tiny, candy-covered gingerbread cottage located across the street from the school haunt. As Dweem neared, he saw through the house's blue raspberry lollipop windows a multitude of puppies, video games, and ultra soakers with full backpack attachments. Wow, he exclaimed. That's your house? Your kids are so lucky. I don't have any children. I just keep their company on occasion. Kids from the school haunt? Not ever since the incident, but enough questions. We must find your injured kitten. You mean my mom? Sure, now hurry up and get inside before someone sees us, the ragdoll snapped. Dweem entered the cottage and was instantly disappointed to find the video games and ultra soakers were nothing more than crayon drawings on the walls, and the puppies were simply cardboard cutouts set on record players to make it look like they were moving. The only actual toy in the house was an ornate wooden dollhouse in the far dark corner of the one-room building. What? Dweem exclaimed as the door closed lightly behind him. All of this is fake? Certainly not, Renato Cheech said with a wink. It's all very real. It just takes a little Christmas magic to spring to life. Dweem's eyes widened. So it's really you? He gasped. You're the real Santa? I didn't say that, friendo, but I also did not say it. The ragdoll monster tipped his Santa hat, and a few crusts fell onto the soiled gingerbread floor. Well, if you aren't the real Santa, then how would you be able to use Christmas magic? Christmas magic, not Christmas magic. Lowercase m. There's a big difference. But here, allow me to show you, Renato said insidiously. He plucked an orange candy from his eye socket. Another immediately grew in its place. Eat this, my chubby cherub, and before you can name all of Santa's reindeer, you'll be in a fantastical world of sugar plums, gumdrops, and mommy skins. Dweem unwrapped the candy slowly. He stared down at the sallow sphere, and two of his chocolate-coated brain cells rubbed together long enough to make a spark. Wait, don't you mean your reindeer? What are you talking about? You said Santa's reindeer, but if you're the real Santa, wouldn't they be your reindeer? And if you're not the real Santa, I don't think I should be eating your eyeballs. Ah, yes, the reindeer. Willie, Marky, Marcus, Bernie, and Mac. They're all out back. I stabled them to eat. What about Monsteropolis and my mom? They're both in the stable, too. Oh, okay, Dweem said contentedly. He popped the candy in his mouth and began chomping. To his delight, the puppies, video games, and ultra soakers suddenly did seem a lot realer, but then they became distorted like comics on stretched out silly putty. What's happening? Dweem struggled as the ragdoll monster's face similarly morphed and grew larger and nearer. Into the dollhouse, young man. Renato's voice reverberated across the gingerbread walls. His cloth hands, now as huge as coffee tables, grabbed Dweem and dragged him to the dark corner of the room. Dweem tried to fight back, but the hands, along with everything else in the room, grew bigger with each passing second. He was also super out of shape. As the dollhouse became the size of a mansion, the front door opened and a light turned on from inside, illuminating the doorway on the first floor. Instead of serving as a comforting beacon in the dark, it filled Dweem with an unspeakable dread. He tried to scream, but the attempt came out raspy and almost silent. Somewhere far above him, he heard Renato murmur something about the crawling things in the walls. But then another voice boomed in the distance, a familiar voice. Two familiar voices. What the fuck knockers is this? One of them demanded with the intensity of a thunderstorm that knocks out cable for a week. Dweem, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Another yelled with the pumped intensity of a hurricane that has a name like Petit Boussois, but that kills 25,000 people. Dweem blinked and the room illuminated as Baron and Eurondex exploded through a blue raspberry window and into the house. Toe Jim and Earl, Dweem stammered as everything came back into sight and perspective. He saw Renato, once again normal size, holding up his claw hands and trying to explain to Baron that everyone's moms were hurt and their kittens were missing, but he could help because he may be Santa, but also maybe not. The ragdoll turned to Dweem and winked an orange candy eye, but before he could open it, Baron ripped it off his face and slammed it down the monster's Sonagate mouth. Renato swallowed hard. "Oh no," he said with a drooling grin. "Now I'm gonna fall asleep too. Whatever are you gonna do with me?" Dweem rushed over to the ragdoll monster and started beating the shit out of him, literally. He punched him so hard in the stomach that the magical candy exploded at his butt seams and onto the ground. Without missing a beat, Dweem picked up the candy and started bashing in Renato Cheech's face with it. The sticky taffy ripped eyeball after eyeball from the ragdoll's face as fast as they could regrow until the combined candy sphere looked like a shitty Halloween ornament that a grandpa made at day camp that his family still cherished because he tried his best and he may not be around next year. "Finish him!" Grindax yelled from across the room. Dweem jammed the Ultimo Ped candy in the monster's mouth and then punched it down his throat. Renato Cheech's eyes didn't regrow, and his entire body went limp like a rag doll because that's what he was. "Fatality!" Grindax cheered. It was more of a humiliation, Baron contested. "Let's agree on a babality because we totally killed that baby." "Well, if it were babality, he actually would have turned into a... Dad, Uncle Grindax!" Dweem interrupted as he waddled over and gave them a big hug. "What did I tell you about talking to strangers?" Baron snapped before pushing his son away. "I warned you, remember? With that fucking taffy dude in the bushes? But of course, here we are again. Here we are fucking again." "Uncle G?" Dweem tried with his arm still outstretched. "You def fucked up this time, Dweem," Grindex agreed. "And don't call me Uncle G. And you're mega lucky that we got here when we did. You should have seen the bizarre shit that doll was pulling out of that dollhouse. I mean, I'm glad you did, so I guess you shouldn't have seen it." "Nor will you," Baron said while lighting the wooden dollhouse on fire. He then dug a hole in the ground next to it, and a bunch of fireproof termites immediately came marching in. As the trio turned and walked out of the burning cottage, Dweem noticed one of the termites look over Renato's corpse and gasped, "Ooh, is he asleep? What do you think we should do to him?" He squished him too, just to be safe.
Excellent. Do you want to do Mulholland or not?
Oh, yeah,
Give me
sure.
a break.
Yeah.
All right. Because then you got 16 too.
I'll break 15.
Go for it.
Okay. Chapter 15. "So, Pops, where did you and Uncle Grindax go when I was being kidnapped/drugged?" Dweem asked more nonchalantly than he should have. "Well," Baron replied while attaching a dog leash to his son's belt loops, "after the whole 'where's the last place Santa would be' theory bombed at the school, I figured we should hit up the first place Santa would be, at least before he has to deliver presents on Christmas Eve. We were headed there until you decided it would be more fun to eat pet eyeball candy. Where's the first place Santa would be?" "The worst place on earth this time of year." Baron yanked the leash and Dweem lumbered after his dad and uncle. After getting Dweem's leash caught in bushes and tangled around light poles for a few miles, the trio found themselves standing in front of a personality-less one-story limestone building. The Mall of the Danged flickered in fluorescent light above the entrance. Next to the entrance, an obese security elf king chilled in a folding chair. Baron waited for him to acknowledge them, but he was too busy sharding and crushing candies on his phone. "Fuck it," Baron said as he busted past the guard and led the way inside. He'd expected the haunt to have a zombie or maybe post-apocalyptic theme, but for some reason industrial music blared, fog and colored spotlights went ballistic. In every store was a tepid topic or Spoonser's gifts. "What the shit?" Baron exclaimed. "Why would a mall haunt be rave-themed?" "Well, at least it isn't scary," Dweem said with a sigh of relief. "Yeah, thank fuck this haunted house isn't scary," Baron said sarcastically. "Grindax, can you believe this guy?" "Unbelievable," Grindax responded. But even though the haunt wasn't scary, it was plenty brutal. As the trio passed the first storefront, a group of disaffected teens busted out into the hall. One of them, wearing massively oversized jeans, loudly whispered to another, "Ew, look at his little paunch." Baron and Dweem both attempted to sneak stretch their shirts out a bit. "Oh my god," the other teen, who wore ridiculously undersized jeans, whispered it at a volume that might as well have been a scream. He thought stretching his shirt would help, but now he just has a wrinkly paunch. "Yeah, I didn't think it was possible, but he somehow looks even sloppier," the first teen said. "And what's with that shitty haircut?" Baron and Dweem both felt abysmal, but neither looked over at the teens or said anything because they each hoped the comments were about the other person and they didn't want to find out otherwise. Grindex wasn't bothered at all since he wasn't wearing a shirt and didn't have hair. But then he saw one of the teens mouth, "What is that? A fucking bootleg warlock?" So he began to feel like shit too. Ugh. I want to tell the backstory on that, but I won't. The trio looked at the ground and powered through the gauntlet of mean teens until they ran top of head first into a wall. They turned into the next hallway and were relieved to see that the lazily named shops had been replaced by more familiar and innocuous mall staples. A pet store that smelled like piss and allowed customers to buy a purebred puppy they could tell everyone was a rescue. An arcade that smelled like piss and had a 30-something worker who asked girl patients if he could take pics and vids of them while they played DDR, and a bunch of coin-operated candy dispensers that smelled like piss and were still stocked with tan M&Ms from the early 90s. Beyond them sat the most familiar mall sight of all, a depressed Santa surrounded by screaming children and latte-sipping mamicitas. "Yo, Santa," Baron said after politely waiting his turn in line just in case this was the real deal. "Feh," the Santa growled. His long white beard hung off his gaunt face and across a Santa suit t-shirt riddled with holes from cigarette ash. Below that, he wore sweatpants that would have been more aptly called urine pants. Thank you. The only thing even remotely Christmassy about his appearance was his shiny red nose. "Dad, even I can tell this isn't the actual," Dweem said. "Shh, give him a chance," Baron whispered angrily. "Something about this dude is different. Could be the real deal, but maybe he's just trying to hide it so everyone doesn't hit him up for wishes." He turned back to the possibly a Santa and said, "Your secret is safe with us." "It is," the Santa slurred. He narrowed his eyes and asked, "How did you find out?" "See?" Baron excitedly whispered to Dweem. I just had a hunch," he continued to Santa. "Now, about my Christmas wish. Keep your panties on, muscles. First, we gotta take us a picture." The Santa took a flask out from his pants, wiped the piss that was dripping from it onto the side of his chair, and took a swig of straight peppermint schnapps. "Look this way. You there, Butterball. You want to shit on my lap?" "Shit on your lap!" Dweem yelled in shock. "Not shit, you idiot. Shit!" The Santa patted his lap. "Shit on me like all the children do." I don't need to go right now." "I think you should do it," Grindex said. "Shit on that dude." "He's obviously been shit on enough already," Baron said sternly while palm muting his buddy and pinching his son's shoulder. "But the dude's got the magic, so keep it the fuck together." He turned back to Santa and said through gritted teeth, "Let's take that picture." "All right, just take a gander at that pretty little Latin number over there and smile. Should be easy long as you ain't no homo." Santa belched as he pointed to an elf babe with the camera. Baron started to seriously doubt his theory this was the real Santa after all, but he looked at the elf and ordered Dweem and Grindex to do the same. The camera bulb flashed and Santa quickly took a swig of schnapps and shouted, "Next." Blonde twins with bowl cuts toddled onto the dais, but Baron waved them off. He figured he had about 10 seconds before their mother called the police for savagely assaulting her precious baby, so he needed to be quick. "Santa, we got to get our wishes before we can bail. We know it's you, remember? The secret?" "Oh, yes, the secret. How'd you say you winkled that one out again? Not that it matters much now." "I don't know," Baron said. "Something about you just resonated with me." Baron said, "Oh, you don't want anything about me resonating with you, son," Santa warned. "But that's why you're sticking around, isn't it? 'Cause you're ready." "It's no shtick. And yeah, I'm totally ready. For my Christmas wish, I want..." "No, not the wish, you black bastard," Santa snarled. "The secret." And that's a Throw Mama from the Train reference. Baron was now fully confused and fully certain this wasn't the real Santa, but the former got the better of him. "The fuck are you even talking about?" he asked. "If the secret isn't that you're the real Santa, what is it?" "This entire mall," the alcoholic fake Santa whispered through peppermint schnapps breath, "is filled with gas." Baron nervously looked over to the elf babes. "Yes, get one last look at heaven, muscles, because we got about 5 minutes before we all go to hell." "I don't follow." "Oh, you'll follow, boy. The gas will lead us there." Alki Santa sleepily pointed behind his throne. where a gas-powered generator was pumping the entire place full of carbon monoxide. He winked a milky eye at Baron and held out his flask. "We're going down with the ship, matey. It's a pleasure to have you aboard."
So good.
Oh, bad Santa, everyone.
Too true.
Oh, cheers. Chapter 16.
No way! Baron yelled as he pushed away the flask. The Santa gave him a surprise/pish look. Pish. Oh, shit. I'm
It
infected.
begins.
Surprise/pissed look. But Baron felt surprised/proud. In his head, he imagined himself kicking his little mouse legs in a beaker of water as the scientist above him erased a hypothesis and began to worry about grant funding. But Mouse Baron wasn't ready to give up yet, and especially not in a shitty fucking mall. He, Grindex, and Dweem turned busted out of the mall without saying bye to anyone, but they left the generator going because Baron knew that Alki Santa didn't have much to live for, and also because fuck the mean tweens in the stupid rave hallway. "All right, Pops," Dweem declared as the trio stepped back into the oxygen-rich night. "Uncle Grindex picked the school that got us in trouble, and you chose the mall that almost got us killed, so it's my turn to pick the next haunt." Baron excused his son's impudence, since nothing he said was a lie. "Pick it out, baby boy," he said as he passed the map, which by now was creased and smelled like store-brand aftershave and grass clippings for being in a dad's pocket for too long. Dweem mouth breathed on the map. "Well, the way I figure it, Uncle G tried..." "Stop calling me that," Grindex interrupted. Uncle Grindex tried a place that he thought Santa never goes, and you, Dad, tried a place where you thought Santa always is, at least until Christmas Eve." "Right," Baron replied in an annoyed tone. "That's the way you figure it, because that's exactly what happened/what we told you. But where does Santa go on Christmas Eve?" "Oh, good call. Let's check out a bojo jillion individual houses. He's bound to be in one of them." Fucking Dweem, Grindex echoed. "No, just one house. One house where I know he goes. Mom's." "Dweem, you fucking nudnik. We can't get to Monsteropolis from here," Baron snapped. "Yeah, you fucking budnik from Salute Your Shorts," Grindex added. "It doesn't have to be my mom's house. It can just be a mom's house, like that one." Dweem pointed to a 2-story vinyl house, where not for the wooden side made from upcycled wine barrels that hung above the door and read, "The Night Mom Before Chris Mom," there would have been no way to tell it was actually a haunt. But Dweem confirmed it on the map, and then Baron double confirmed it because he didn't trust his son. "Oh, fart. Grindex, check this shit out," Baron said. He held a map over his shoulder so Grindex could see. "3 Santa symbols?" Grindex exclaimed. "All the other spots on the map only have one, including the ice tower. That must mean the real Santa's in there. They're triply pumped about it." "I did good?" Dweem hesitated. We'll see," Baron replied unconvincingly. "But you haven't done bad yet, at least in the specific instance." "Which, by Dweem standards, is incredible," Grindex said. "True. Plus, a bunch of strangers walked by and you didn't immediately stick your hand in their pockets or do anything else weird, so sure, you did good, kid." Dweem beamed and the trio started toward the house. "So this is like your mom's place, huh?" Baron asked as they approached the front door, which had a red and white wreath made of upcycled Target bags hanging from it. Crumpled receipts and yogurt container lids were still visible in some of the bags. "Yeah, well, technically it's Randy's place, but Mom moved in there after they got married." "What the fucking shit?" Baron shouted. "Your mother remarried?" "Yeah, but don't worry. Randy's a total badass. He lets me ride up front in his MUV. That's a monster utility vehicle, and he has a sweet job as an MIO, Monster Information Officer, at a large Monstronomic development company." "Oh my fuck, I hate Monsteropolis so much." Baron growled as memories came flooding back, and he instantly got a tension headache. "Yeah, it'll always be too soon," Grindex said. "Tell me this one thing, Dweem. Is Randy a vampire?" "Why does it matter?" "It doesn't. I'm just curious." "If it doesn't matter, then you shouldn't be curious. You're not vamp-phobic, are you, Dad?" "No, definitely not," Baron replied. But Dweem's non-answer was as good as an answer, which meant Randy was totally a vampire. Stupid, filthy bloodsuckers, Baron thought. He just knew Randy was richer and a better lover than he was. And he probably had a sweet pompadour, complete with widow's peak, and a cool accent, and a swamp yacht, and jewels from whatever was the Transylvania equivalent of Monsteropolis, which had to be friggin' amazing. Layla and Randy probably laugh at pictures of me as they suck each other. You rabbit hole. They probably wear Baron masks. So good. Yo, Pops, are we going in or what? Dwayne said while pulling on his dad's shirt sleeve. Baron snapped out of it. Dude, your palms are bleeding, Baron Dex remarked. I cut myself shaving, Baron lied as he unclenched his fists. Come on, let's go. There's no attendant at the door, but a small placard above the doorbell read, Ding dong, merrily on high. So Baron sighed and rang it with his bloody hand. The door creaked open and the trio entered because they dared. Inside the dim foyer, hair scrunchies and tan baseball caps littered the ground. Above them on the walls were chore charts and advent calendars with the caloric chocolate still inside the open paper windows. The dudes continued down the hall. To the right was the living room. In the center of the room sat a little cactus with white string lights and one red ornament bulb hanging from it. Above it hung a large framed and embroidered print of an ancient/wise Chinese mom bird. Life is weird, but sometimes it's okay.
Legit.
Jet.
True mom quote.
It's embroidered on a pillow. It's true. Beneath the print and surrounding the cactus sat beautifully wrapped presents and stark white furniture that appeared to be from the 80s, but was in such good shape that it must have only been used once a year, Christmas morning. That tree's pretty bullshit, but this is looking promising, boys, Baron said excitedly. Behind him, Dwayne wheezed and squealed like a dying guinea pig, but a pump/dying guinea pig that also got to eat itself to death when its idiot kid owner left the food bag on top of the cage and then knocked it over after throwing an SNES controller in a fit of rage. Let's go tuck into those presents, Grindex proposed. Baron and Dwayne were fully aboard, but suddenly there was a sound like crashing pots and pans in the distance. I suddenly got dump feeling, Baron said. Better go check it out, make sure these presents aren't a trap. How could they be a trap? Grindex asked worriedly. He'd already unraveled his strings and was reaching for the nearest box. They could be mimics or filled with dandruff and springs or something. Or maybe the real Santa set up one final test to see if we're naughty or nice, Dweem offered. These presents might belong to sick teensy babies. Oh, right. If we open sick babies' gifts, especially teensy babies, we'll be F-bombed out of our wishes for sure. And wishes are way more important than gifts, Baron acknowledged. Totally, Grindex agreed, since you could always wish for twice or even infinity times as many gifts as this. Santa, you're an evil genius, Baron Whisper shouted. By the way, I like we all get along like this. Where else would we get along better than Santa's house on Christmas Eve? Dwayne said with a smile. You're right. Good job, son. Baron was interrupted by another crash and then a voice yelling, Oh, fuck! Now I got crumbs and shit all over the place. Santas can't curse, right? Baron asked. No, Dwayne said sadly. And they don't curse using crabby mom voices, right? Grindex asked. No, Dwayne said sadly. Well, then, you really fucked it this time, didn't you? Baron demanded. Yes, Dwayne said sadliest. Baron gave up on being quiet and marched down the hall toward the noise. It came from a large kitchen where a gigantic back leaned into an oven. Red costume, about the right size, Baron said as his hope/punk climbed. The back backed out of the back of the oven. Fart, never mind, Baron sighed. Dweem and Grindex both shrieked in terror. Oh no, are you boys injured? One mom voice asked worriedly. Everyone shut up, just shut the hell up! Yelled another. Hey, what's the matter with you, huh? A third voice goofed. Wearing a flower-covered sweater that featured a dabbing cartoon Santa, a mom with 3 heads slammed down a tray of cookies and stomped across the kitchen toward the trio.
Perfection. Do you dare do the mom
Do you
voices?
dare?
No,
No?
you can do it. Do you want me to do it?
If you want.
Get it.
Bring my mom in, shall I?
Yes, you must have wine during this chapter. You got babes.
Come in, all 3 mom heads said in unison. Baron turned and immediately tried to book it, but he ran smack into the back of Dweem, who had turned and tried to book it, but ran smack into a wall. Both dudes fell to the ground, taking Grindex with them. From the ground, the mom with 3 heads looked actual mom size to a kid. You poor babies, one of the heads said. Here, let me help you. That body extended a hand, and Baron busted a quick defensive somersault and quickly wheeled a power metal cover of Christmas at Ground Zero on Grindax, which should have shot out laser targeted mushroom clouds of radioactive fuck you straight at the point where the three mom heads connected at the neck. But all that came out of Grindax's fangs was a tiny green puff of fart. Folks, fuck, sorry, man. Grindax apologized. No, I don't think I fretted that properly. It was my fault, Baron replied. He tried the song again, and something in Baron's fingers cracked. There was a slightly smaller, less stinky puff. Ow, he grunted. He and Grindex turned their tin eyes up to the monster who had helped Dweem up and was now cooing over him as he stuffed his face with cookies. It looked kind of nice, kind of familiar. Baron lifted himself and Grindex off of the ground. As he did so, something popped in his knees, and then for some reason that caused his ears to start ringing. He sat and walked over to the kitchen. I could use a little mothering, he thought, but would never audibly admit it. Come, sit. The mom, Triclyde said in 3 soothing Jersey accents. She pulled another tray of cookies out of the oven, while Baron pulled out a stool for himself and Grindex the breakfast bar. He handed a cookie down to Grindex and then snagged one for himself. So you're definitely not the real Santa, are you? Baron said while crunching into a surprisingly awesome cookie. The mom with the tri-chip approach, where she cooked normal chocolate chip cookies for a couple minutes before she took them out of the oven, injected more chocolate chips in the middle, baked for a bit longer, and then put extra chocolate chips on top before finishing them off. This created a layer effect wherein some chips were super melty while others were a bit crunchy. She even negatively correlated cacao content with meltiness. So the softest bits were dairy milk, and the hardest bits were as dark as you can get before entering the bitter bullshit zone. This mom was a pro.
You don't want
There's
to.
so many voices,
You don't have
and I
to
can't
if you
even
want.
read. I think you'll do a better job.
Oh, hi, rudeness. I'm
you go.
Brita, one of the mom heads said. She was tan with high cheekbones, a ponytail, and giant shades. Something about her was slightly attractive, like a friend's mom who would beat up the schoolyard bullies for you when your own mom wouldn't do shit. Brita like the filter? Dream asked. No cuteness. Brita laughed. It's pronounced Barita. Oh, brr, like Christmas, Dweem said with a crummy smile. Man, fuck Dweem, Baron thought jealously. Why is he cuteness when I'm rudeness? And what the fuck does that even mean, burr like Christmas? Or like burr like this margarita is cold? Baron tried, hoping the Ito would put him over. It didn't. Watch your mouth, huh? You know Colossal Barbara can't drink anymore. She can't even hear about this stuff without getting all crazy. Who the fuck are you calling crazy, bitch? The middle head yelled as one of the Cerberus mom fists came crashing down on the island. She was also tan and wore big dark sunglasses, but that's when the similarities between her and Brita ended. Unlike Brita's delicate features, Colossal Barbara's lips, cheeks, and forehead were overplumped with Botox to the point that they leaked all over the inky black hair that framed her face, acting as a sort of hideous gel. Now the fuck would you know she can't drink? Oh wait, sorry. See, yeah, I'm
Okay,
doing
it.
swimmingly here. But yeah, this is a reference to Mob Wives and our precious Big Ange. Rest in peace.
All right. Yeah.
All right. You want to take it?
How the fuck would I know she can't drink? Oh no, this is Baron's.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too.
Here, you can do Baron and I'll
All right.
do the mom.
Okay, perfect.
Nice.
This is gonna be fun. And how the fuck would I know she can't drink when I don't even know who any of you are? Baron demanded while slamming a fist on the island too.
Now, everybody, let's please try to get along. It's the holidays after all.
The third mom head said. She looked and sounded ultra boring, like a pasty ghost mom you wouldn't even notice at Target until she ran her card into you. And even then, you just up the spectrum, smile and nod and think about all the fruit snacks you're going to buy while she goes into a 15-minute profuse apology and offers you her insurance information because she's so boring she actually has a policy for that sort of thing.
Bish, who the hell do you think you are?
Colossal Barbara yelled. Baron could already tell he really liked Colossal Barbara.
Oh.
This is boring, Mom.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just It's just that we have company. Bitch, do I look blind to you?
Baron really liked Colossal Barbara. He looked over at Grindex, who narrowed his eyes and mouthed, "Oh yeah." He looked over at Dwayne, who had his eyes shut and fingers in his ears. Baron shook his head as he and Grindex, the two founding and sole members of the Colossal Barbara Super Fan Club, tucked into another round of cookies.
Damn it, Bob.
Rita snapped.
Why don't you just give in and have another drink or 10? You think I won't? Don't forget, Hookah, we share a liver. And tonight I'm drowning that motherfucker. Let's party.
One of the Ghidorah mom's hands reached for a wine glass the size of an aquarium. The other hand reached over and stopped it.
Now, Barbara, you know how you get. Please stick with water.
The boring mom said. She said water in a British accent to try to sound fancy. Baron and the other mom shot her a disgusted look.
Oh, I got your water, bitch, right here.
Colossal Barbara yelled. She freed the hand she was controlling and grabbed a bottle of 150 proof vodka. The Khmer mom's hands fought over the bottle until they fumbled it into the air. It soared across the kitchen and into the living room before landing directly in the wood-burning fireplace they were using for Christmas ambience, despite the fact that all of the mom's kids had super bad allergies. The bottle exploded in an inferno that quickly devoured the surrounding furniture. "Fuck Central!" Baron yelled as he leapt off the chair and snagged Grindex. "Yo, Dweem, store as many cookies as you can in your hamster cheeks and let's beat it." "But Dad, what about the mom? I mean, the moms. We can't just leave them here." Baron looked over at Brita, Colossal Barbara, and Boring Target Mom. They were still at each other's throats, which technically meant one throat was just chilling because the other had two hands. He tried to calculate whether there was any way to save them, but after the fart puff incident, he didn't trust he could play any ice water spells that would be powerful enough to stop the flames. He also didn't care about saving any of the other mom heads except for Colossal Barbara's, and he definitely didn't have that surgical ability. "All right, watch this," Baron said determinedly. He slung Grindex over his shoulder, grabbed Dweem by the collar, and ran out the front door of the haunt right as it collapsed into burning cinders and broken Chardonnay bottles. "Dad, what the fuck?" Dweem shouted with tears in his eyes. "You said we couldn't just leave him there, so I showed you we totally could," Baron said nonchalantly. "Oh my fuckness," Grindex laughed. Thank you, Baron said while bowing. "Dad, I hate..." Dweem started to shriek, but he was interrupted by the plaintive gurgle of a mom voice somewhere in the rubble. It was followed by another mom voice, and then a more boring one that gurgled something about saving the Charlie Brown cactus, and then two tiny gurgles from elsewhere in the house, because by definition, the monster had to have kids somewhere. As the trio stared into the wreckage, moonlight hit a golden doorknob that shone in the glowing embers. None of them could tell, but it contained a memento every Christmas the monster shared with her children. Each year, after all the presents were unwrapped, she would pluck a single needle from the tree/cactus and lovingly insert it in the little hole in the center of the knob. She didn't know what the hole was actually for, but that became its purpose. All three mom heads and two kid heads would regularly look at the knob and smile, thinking of all the Christmases that were and all the ones that were to come. But now the heat from the flames had reduced the needles, memories, and dreams to ash. "Let's get out of here. Take your mind off it," Baron said as he pulled Dweem away from what was essentially a crime scene. Cool. Chapter 18. "All right," Baron said merrily while scanning the map. Thanks, Bob. "We have one haunt left. Santa's gotta be there, right? Unless he's in the ice tower, which he definitely fucking is," Dweem muttered angrily. "Come on, Dweem. I know you're mad because I tricked you into leaving the mobs to burn to death, but it was just a goof." "Yeah, homie, it was just a funny prank," Grindex said. "It wasn't a goof or a prank," Dweem snapped. "You both are sick. You go through life talking about pump this and pump that, but you only care about what gets you pumped. You don't give a shit if everyone else around you is miserable or even dying. You're shitheads." "Whoa, hi there, rudeness. I'm Dad," Baron chuckled. "Primo callback," Grindex cheered. "See, you're imitating a dead lady whom you killed 5 minutes ago like it's no big deal. You just don't care." "Right, because we didn't kill her. You're looking for a scapegoat for your own guilt because you didn't do shit either. You're a chubby, tubby little bosom baby who can't even bench the bar. So how are you going to rescue a mom with 3 big-ass heads? So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for how many nights we've only had Dunkaroo dinners. I'm sorry that I was a chubby kid who figured out my shit, so I figured you'd do the same. I'm sorry a big part of me loves you fat because it's who you are and it's all I know. I'm sorry a small part of me wants you to get even fatter because it reflects poorly on your mother. I'm sorry for whatever shit she's done to you to just reflect poorly on me. just sorry, okay? But I'm not fucking sorry about the three-headed monster. Pick your battles. I love you too, Dad, Dream replied apologetically. Fuck, that was beautiful, Grindex said as his 8 eyes welled up with glow-in-the-dark tears. We please get some pump going now, Baron sighed. We meaning all of us, not just me and Grindex. Definitely, Dweem yelled as he wrapped his Stay Puft-esque, both in texture and stickiness, arms around his dad. Yo, wrap a bit farther so you hit your Uncle G, too, Grindex said from Baron's back. So, the last haunt is Carnival Bleed, and it's in the section of the park called the Axe Brothers Let Me Axe You This In-Way. The fuck is an in-way? Baron asked as the trio walked in the direction of Ferris wheel lights glowing on the horizon. Must be like a midway because it's the last haunt. But because it's the last haunt, they call it an in-way, Grindex responded. But it can't be everyone's last haunt. This shit is printed on the map, straight up in-way. Maybe it's like this is the end of you way, Dweem guessed, like the monsters are going to kill us. Oh, now that makes sense and is pretty pumped. Baron said, no, it's not. How's getting killed pumped? Because they're just going to try to kill us. If they succeed, we'll be dead, so we won't give a shit. If they fail, that means we're tough and cool guys. It's win-win. More like lose, win, and be scarred for life. More like lose, win, and be scarred/pumped for life, Grindex said. See, your uncle gets it with the Ultimo callback pun. Do you even know about scared/pumped? Anyway, get Pete and Pete, baby boy, because we're there. Dweem looked up from his default view of the ground to find his senses instantly assaulted. The in-way was at least half a mile long and just as wide, populated with Ferris wheels, carousels, and carnival games. Pitch-down calliope covers of Christmas tunes blasted from speakers hidden in trees and bathed in red and green LED light, and peppermint-scented fog rose from the ground and probably gave everyone a weird disease that someday would be the subject of a class-action suit advertised on a TV commercial during The Price is Right. At the end of the in-way, a large tint rose above a vintage, bulb-lit sign that flashed Carnival Bleed. Buzzing all around it were elf monsters with clown makeup on their faces and hatchets or sledgehammers in their hands. This looks a lot scarier than the other parts of the park, Dweem said apprehensively. It's about fucking time, Baron yelled as he charged with Grindex into the in-way. It's a Halloween park. It's supposed to be scary, he yelled from the distance. I mean, it's a Christmas park, he clarified from slightly farther in the distance, but still. Not wanting to be left alone, Dweem waddled frantically after his dad. As he pushed through the crowds, barkers shrieked at him from both sides. To his left, a snowman monster who was for some reason wearing a filthy snowman suit and manning a gesture weight booth pointed at Dweem and yelled, "Ooh, a lot!" To the right, a dreadlocked reindeer manning a basketball stand shouted, "Hey, you look like a Pop-Tart took a shit," which was more confusing than anything. Shout out to Andrew for that one. Finally, Dweem caught up to his dad and uncle at an airbrush t-shirt stand next to the haunt. "Pops," he gasped, "you gotta stop running away like that." Baron spun around in a brand new shirt. "Sorry, homie," he apologized. "But do you know how hard it is to find an airbrush shirt stand nowadays? Check this shit out." He pulled his white tall tee out to the sides to show off the art, which featured a 3-legged red alien wearing a gold chain and pouring purple syrup from a styrofoam cup into his mouth. Beneath it was the caption, "Toe Jam, Slow Jam." I don't get it, Dweem said while still catching his breath. "Seriously? Here, maybe this will help." Baron swung Grindex across his chest. The guitar/uncle/spider monster's eyes and fangs were beaming with pride. The rest of him was covered in a white shirt that was already ripped to shreds from his razor wire strings. Where the airbrush art was still visible, Dweem could make out an obese orange alien with shades over his eyes and a giant joint hanging from his mouth. Beneath that were the words, "Big Earl Blunt." Yeah, got it. Funny, awesome, cool," Dweem lied. "Told you," Baron said happily. "Totally worth abandoning you for a minute. But to make up for it, how about we get you a shirt too? You can be leaned out Letitia, I guess. That's pretty similar to mine and also not from the good game. So just get whatever." Dweem was bummed he couldn't get something canonical with his dad and uncle, but also relieved because he had no idea what their shirts were actually referencing. He turned to the airbrush elf and told her what he'd like. She gave him an unimpressed look, but a couple minutes later, Dweem spun around to debut his 3, 4, 5 quintuple XL ladies cut shirt, which was still bursting at the seams. "The fuck is that?" Baron stammered. Beneath Dweem's sweaty, grimacing face was a shirt that said in calligraphy, "Dweem big and be big and stay positive and always believe you're beautiful. R.I.P. three-headed monster." I don't know. I couldn't decide, so I just got the first thing that came to mind. Dweem said nervously. But it's all fucking letters. The price is the same no matter what, like $50 per. And why was that shit the first thing on your mind? Fucking Dweem Big? And again with the monster? Hey, why don't you add something about the ped doll on there? He was pretty cool too. Yo, Grindex cautioned. Remember what we talked about before he caught up with us about adjusting our expectations? Right. Sorry, I'm fucking trying here. Baron threw a stolen debit card onto the counter and told the elf artist her machine must be all fucky when the pin didn't work. After she figured out how to run to his credit, the trio sulked away toward the haunt. As they waited in line, no one said anything. After a few minutes, Baron walked over to the trash and threw the airbrush shirt into it. Dweem exhaled raggedly and began rocking back and forth against the tent. His eyes felt like they were boiling. He turned them to the ground and counted rocks as his dad and uncle began talking. Their voices sounded miles away. Welcome, friendos. Allow me to intercede. A megaphone crackled above Dweem's head, breaking his anxiety spell. For you are about to enter Carnival Bleed. Hold each other close. It's the longest haunt in the park. But before you reach the light, you must first survive the dark. The entrance tent flaps folded up on their own, revealing a pitch-black void. Oh, fuck. It's one of those haunts, Baron groaned. What haunts? Dweem asked cautiously, expecting to get berated for not knowing, but also because he was genuinely concerned. Fucking blackout haunt. Every park seems to have one. They act like it's this sweet gimmick, but it's really just a lazy ploy to build a haunt and not stock it with sweet props or workers or anything. The only real monsters are the other patrons who think it's an excuse to go on a fucking rope fest. This is hideously true. Baron turned to the line behind him and yelled, I see you, you fucking pervo peepee man. A few 40-year-olds with puffy tennis shoes and fanny packs and kid haircuts nervously exited the line. Well, at least now we don't have to worry about that part of it. Let's get this shit over with and hope the Santa is real or at least cool, or that someone kills us in there. Dweem began rocking again and emitting a low whine that sounded like a deflating balloon. Baron grabbed him by the pudgy wrist. It'll be fine. Just close your eyes, or don't. You won't see shit, so there's legit nothing to be afraid of. True, and don't worry, I'm still here too, even though I haven't said anything in a while, Grindex added. Dweem sighed with relief and felt the blood go back to his feet. He placed one chubby foot in front of the other and entered the black void.
Yeah.
Pass it up.
Should I pour them up?
Yeah, please.
Refreshment.
Throat is gone.
Pervo peepee man.
Puffy tennis shoes.
As the tent flaps closed behind the trio, they were immediately enveloped in darkness. The only light came from the soft chartreuse luminance of Gorindex's glow-in-the-dark frets. All right, we have about 5 minutes light before we're fuck-bombed, Baron advised. Let's try to whale through this thing. He held his best friend / guitar / spider monster in front of him to guide the way. As they proceeded through the maze in silence, Baron couldn't help but think about how a few years ago, Gorindex's frets glowed in the dark or light. It didn't even matter. But then his buddy's strings and eyes dulled, and his frets only glowed after being out in the sun. But they're getting even weaker now. Everything was. It was all fading, leaving only darkness behind. Yo, Pops, what do we do? Dweem asked. Nothing, man. It's all over. What? I'm talking about the dead end. Me too. Yo, Baron, back to Earth, Grindex said. Baron shook his head and looked around. Black walls surrounded him on 3 sides. The only opening was behind him. Oh, the maze dead ends, he realized aloud. Yeah, Dweem replied confusedly. What do we do? Go back? Nah, there's got to be a trick to this. What did the voice say on the speaker before we came in here? Something about going forward? Hold each other close. It's the longest haunt in the park, Grindex mimicked. But before you reach the light, you must first survive the dark. Dang, at least his memory and impersonation skills are sharp, Baron thought. They gave him hope and pump. Fuck it. Let's go, boys, Baron shouted. He wrapped his arms around Grindex and about a quarter of the way around Dweem before they couldn't reach any further. The trio charged forward. The wall in front of them gave way down the middle, revealing itself to be inflated on either side like a bounce house. Oh, so it's like butt cheeks, Dweem exclaimed as they entered it. What the fuck? Baron spat. He released his son from his grasp and proceeded through with Grindex alone. After a few seconds, the three dudes emerged on the other side of the inflatable wall and were instantly blasted by black light and techno remixes of circus music. A giant wooden clown face painted with UV-sensitive paint loomed in front of them with its mouth open from floor to ceiling. Sweet, it's a haunt within a haunt, Baron shouted. Russian nesting haunts, Grindex added. Easter egg haunts, Dweem tried. Baron sighed. That doesn't make any sense, Dweem. And if you're thinking of an egg within an egg, those are based on Russian nesting dolls, which your uncle already covered. Keep up. They stepped into the clown mouth and were instantly greeted by a knee-high clown wearing a jester hat. Greetings, friendos, he announced. You've made it this far, but the best is ahead. Now put on your glasses, only $3 ahead. The jester dug into a bucket as tall as himself and pulled out 3 pairs of 3D shades. Despite being super unimpressed with the ahead and ahead rhyme and the extra charge, Baron recognized the jester's voice as the one from the loudspeaker outside, so he was pumped to be meeting what was essentially a celebrity. He dropped his final stolen credit card in the bucket and snagged 3 pairs of shades, which were all smudged/spooged. After cherry picking the best pair for Grindex and the worst for Dweem, Baron proceeded into the next room. The exterior walls were painted neon, which actually looked better without the 3D shades on, and the interior walls making up the actual maze were made of chain link fence. A few seconds into the haunt, a clown monster babe rushed over from behind the cage, honked a horn and yelled, "Won't you come play with me?" It was definitely more lame than scary, but Baron gave her a surprised, "Whoa!" just to be polite. Shout out to Todd. Next, a clown with suspenders, gauged ears, and a stupid little soul patch dyed blue rushed over. He rattled things and screamed, "Are you here to play with me?" "Ha ha, freaky," Baron said through gritted teeth. The cage rattling was cooler than the horn, but the monster was so super lame. He tried to maintain pump, though, since the jester promised stuff would get sweeter over time. And it did. The trio turned a corner and found themselves in a vortex tunnel. Usually, vortex tunnels are painted with like stars or something dumb, but the inside of this cylinder depicted a blacklit graveyard scene where a vivid pink vulture sat atop neon green tombstones and dined on the purple flesh of the dead. Some of the birds even wore napkin bibs and used knives and forks. "Oh my fuck," Baron moaned. "That jester was right," Grindex said while popping Pink Thing, which glowed under the black light. "This hunt is getting sweeter over time, and I think we just passed the bullshit point. It's all pump from here on." Dude, can you even imagine what could be sweeter than a blacklit ghoul vulture feast? A spinning vortex blacklit ghoul vulture feast?
Good shit.
Grindex answered. That's the name of our new pop punk band. Or maybe a monster? Dweem offered. Yes, Baron answered flatly. Maybe a monster. Whatever the fuck that means. Dweem grabbed the metal railing of the tunnel and started scratching the underside of it. Paint flecked off into his hand. "Come on, let's keep riding the pump wave," Grindex said to break the awkwardness. The trio pushed forward through the tunnel. In the next room, the path was lined on both sides with prehistorically sized alligators. "Ho ho! This rules!" Baron cheered. "Don't they look kind of real?" Dweem cautioned. Yeah, that's why they rule. Let's go!" Baron rushed down the path. As he passed the alligators, their mouths opened and shot jets of compressed air before snapping shut. "Ha ha! Crazy!" Baron laughed while spinning around at the end of the path. "See, Dweem, they're just robots. Now hurry the fart up so we can see what's next." Dweem smiled and felt a wave of relief wash over him. "Okay, coming." He waddled down the hallway and felt the first blast of air. It felt good and cool on his hot ankles, so he moved it closer. Another blast jetted out, and it felt even cooler and better. "Dude, come the fuck on," Baron called. "What weird thing are you doing now?" Dweem moved his ankles. It was right by the alligator's mouth, and an extended blast of compressed air hit his sock point blank. Unlike the previous blast, this one felt wet, then ice cold, then lava hot. Dweem fell to the ground and began writhing and screeching. He rolled away to the other side of the path, triggering another alligator to open up its mouth and blast him with compressed air in the face. He shut his eyes and shrieked even harder, then rolled back to the other side where he was blasted again. He heard his dad and uncle laughing. He wept with his eyes closed. Tears fell into his brand new shirt, causing the airbrush paint to run. Suddenly the laughter stopped and the voice asked, "Hey, friendo, are you okay?" Dweem opened his eyes to see the kind face of the jester clown above him. The house lights had been turned on, and the alligators had stopped shooting compressed air. In the fluorescent yellow lighting, they looked cheap and rubbery. Yeah, I think so, Dweem realized. He stood up and felt that his sock was still wet. He folded it down, expecting to see the skin sloughing off, or at least super red, but it was fine. Sorry, I thought the air gave me a chemical burn because it hit me, and then my sock felt wet, but now I think it may have just been sweat. Oh my fuck, Baron said across the room. Ouchie mama, the jester said worriedly. His voice was way more normal now, and he wasn't speaking in rhyme. I'm so sorry you had that experience. This place is a haunted house, but we don't want you that scared. The jester laughed, then Dweem laughed and said, Thanks, I feel much better now. Fantastic. This maze still has a way to go, friendo. So do you want to bail now just to be on the safe side? No fucking way, Baron shouted. Just to be on the safe side, Dweem cried. Jester walked over to an exterior wall and opened the secret door. Night air streamed in, and the red and green lights from the carousel danced around the room. Right this way, he motioned. Dweem limped outside. Baron turned with Grindax and attempted to look deeper into the maze, but instead they ran into a 12-foot-tall bipedal reindeer security guard who looked ripped and ready to rock. The impact launched Baron back into the alligator room and onto his butt. Right this way, the jester repeated. Baron stood up, fully defeated and unpumped, and loped over the exit. He couldn't fathom what rad stuff he'd been missing by not finishing the haunt, but he at least had to know if one of those things was Santa. As he stepped outside, Baron asked the jester if this house contained the real deal. Nope, this house is ruled by a Big T Frost. He's kind of like a skeleton / gorilla / circus Santa. Really nice guy, but not the real Santa. The door slammed shut on Baron's and Grindax's open jaws. On the other side, they heard the jester say to the ranger security guard, We can start the shutdown process now. Go ahead and disassemble the cannons, the firework crossbows too. And maybe unplug all the video games in the arcade / trampoline room, including the super easy claw machines and virtual reality Elvira boob rides. Big T Frost can 86 the Pilsners and Paninis.
Yeah.
These were the last guests, plus it's getting kind of late, but I think it's a school night. Baron and Grindax stared at each other in abject silence, and then turned to find Dweem on a bench still fucking with his sock. Behind him, the Ferris wheel's lights turned off, and then the carousels, and finally the ice towers. The park was closing. They were all fuck-bombed. Absolutely, unequivocally fuck-bombed.
Amazing. Chapter 20. Baron trudged with Grindax over to the bench and plopped down next to Dweem. I can't believe it. It's all over. We failed. I'm not getting my pump back. You're not getting your R-worded wish about me and your mother. There's no magic, no Santa, just nothing. In the distance, roller coaster brakes hissed to a stop. A snack stand shuddered. Laughter quieted. Lights dimmed all around. A tear fell from Baron's eye and landed on a faded, worn jet boot. He kicked the heel against the ground. Nothing happened. He breathed deeply and tried again. Pops, it's okay, Dweem said while tugging on his dad's arm. He'd never seen his dad cry before, and he hated it. Baron looked over slowly. Through the tears, his son was a blur. He looked so much like her, Baron thought. He chuckled and then coughed. Let me walk you out, son. He stood and slugged Grindax over his back. Grindax sighed a sad spider monster sigh, but he said nothing. He closed his 8 eyes and relaxed as his best friend plodded with him to the exit. For a while, the trio was silent. They walked by darkened rides, shops, and stands, the majority of which they hadn't even noticed when the park was brimming with life. They might have been great experiences, maybe not. It was a non-factor now. Familiar sights came into their line of vision. Dweem winced as he saw an airbrush stand. He looked down at his shirt with its paint still wet and running from his own tears. He hated it because it made him feel like an idiot, but he also never wanted to take it off. Everyone averted their eyes from the smoking rubble of the monster's house. They passed the Mall of the Danged. The sign was no longer lit and the windows were black. Everything about the limestone building seemed far colder and stiller than before. Baron and Grindax felt a sickening sense of foreboding, but they couldn't look away. A similar feeling overcame Dweem as he walked by the charred remains of a gingerbread cottage and wooden dollhouse. The trio continued down shitty memory lane until they finally reached the ice tower where it all began. All right, Dweem, Baron said about as seriously as he's ever said anything. You stay here until whatever time CM this thing turns back into an Eiffel Tower. That's when you know everything is back to normal and you can go home. Home to Monsteropolis, that is. Don't go to our place. Or shit, do. Do whatever you want. Wait, Dad, you're coming with me, right? Dweem choked. He already knew the answer. Not right now, pal. Your uncle and I have to do a little shopping at the mall. Baron turned and began walking back in the direction they came. From his back, Grindex winked a cloudy, purple spider eye and mouthed, Uncle G loves you. Dweem dropped his arms as the world seemed to expand all around him, and the airbrush paint on his shirt once again began to run. 21. Well, no one can say we didn't try, Baron said as he walked with Grindex through the dark, empty streets. That's for sure, Grindex agreed. This entire park was just a bullshit parade. Let's run through them. There was the Santa in the Ice Tower, who we all pretty much knew was the real Santa from the start. Right, and now the Ice Tower is closed, and he's probably home counting his money and taking Mrs. Claus to task. Oh, no question. The dude is def stacking it and jacking it. Friggin' lucky. Before him, there's fucking Stompy, the gingerbread dude, homies with Sapalo. Oh yeah, they were cool. Shit went downhill after that. Well, the next one was technically the bartender. He was a douche at first, but after the beers, he was fine. There's a lesson there. Maybe. Because only then did it really go downhill. We're talking D-Dog, Krampus, both total assholes. The kid in the school was just doing her thing, so she was fine. But also fuck her because she reminded us of what little we've accomplished. What, does she think she's better than us? Then motherfucking boom, a ragdoll ped monster. To be fair, that was a dweemism. Or was it a dweem nomen? What do we call it again? Varies by day. Then the Alki Mall Santa, our boy, three-headed monster who was a mixed bag. I guess they counted as three. R.I.P. Colossal Barbara, Precious Bambina. And finally, Big T Frost, who counts even though we didn't get to meet him. And I wonder what the T stands for. Anyway, another dweemism. But how sweet could a skeleton / gorilla / circus Santa really have been? And there you have it. That's 13. That's only 12, a voice called out from the periphery. Do you want to do the babe voice?
Sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Baron and Grindex shot their 10 What? What?
Saying Neil can stay here.
Oh,
Stay on camera.
yeah, I
You
don't know if
could
it'll pick up.
lip sync it.
Baron and Grindex
Oh.
shot their tin eyes over to the only shop that still had its lights on. In the window, a neon sign glowed Pump Holla Video above a Mortal Kombat 2 arcade cabinet. Next to the window was an open doorway where a goth elf babe ashed her cigarette on the brick facade and took a swig of whiskey / eggnog from a flask shaped like an ornament bulb. She wore a black and gray striped velvet elf costume with knee-high stockings below a skirt she had shortened and a shirt she had cleavage because she was really good at sewing. Her pallid skin was so white it made the normal snow on the ground look like pea snow, even though her lipstick, eyeshadow, and eyeliner were holly berry red. It all still looked goth because the eyeliner extended outward like a sassy Egyptian cat or mummy queen. On top of her jet black hair, she wore a tank black Santa hat with a chibi skull puffball. She turned coolly and entered the shop. What the fuck? Grindex started screaming. Baron closed his eyes and opened them. The shop was still there and Grindex was still screaming. Instinctively, he slammed his boots together and they activated and jet propelled him over to the shop. He floated through the doorway before it finished closing behind the babe, and his nostrils were treated to the scent of candy cane / vanilla body spray. He closed his eyes again, not to make sure everything was real, but out of pure ecstasy. When he reopened them, he saw to the right of the door a drop chute, perfectly sized for VHS tapes and cartridge-based video game boxes. To the left was a giant themed gumball machine that also spat out holographic Christmas Kingdom mascot cards with every purchase. In front of him were at least a dozen video rows as tall as he was, and fully stocked with horror, cult, and shitty kids cartoon / movie VHS. The horror section, which covered at least 64% of the store and had rubber bats strung over it, included pristine big boxes and also cut boxes, so patrons could appreciate the pristine ones while also feeling okay touching everything in sight, like it wasn't a museum or anything. Baron entered into the shop and turned around to the counter, where the goth babe elf was not looking at a cell phone. Hanging above her head were signs that said, "No late fees fucking ever, so don't even stress, homie," and free personal pan pizza with every rental, meaning you get a pizza with each rental, not just one for all of them. How was this? Baron stammered. Grindex finished.
Hi, boys.
Ooh, wee. Already getting pumped. So,
Hide behind a tree.
all right. The elf babe sang.
go, go pick out a tape or a video game. I think they're both cool.
Baron continued hovering, his fuel seemingly infinite. He went up and down every aisle, deliberating and debating with Grindex about the perfect rental, both for their own enjoyment, but also to impress the chick. They settled on Earthworm Jim on SNES because it was funny, but also action-packed. It wasn't as pretentious or as obvious a choice as Earthworm Jim 2, and the fact that two dudes were running a 1P game indicated they were good at taking turns and socializing. They also snagged a VHS copy of Bebe's Kids because they were in a theme park, so it seemed appropriate, and it showed that they weren't just little nerd game babies. Hi, these please, Baron said with his voice Hi, these please, Baron said with his voice cracking like a fireplace after all the parents are too drunk to turn the logs.
Oh, nice. I love EWJ.
The elf babe said. There was a loud thunk against the counter on Baron's side.
What was that?
She asked. I think it was a possum. Baron lied as his boner sexually assaulted the laminate.
That's chill.
The babe said, which was a phrase Baron hadn't heard before, so she instantly seemed exotic. Have you ever seen Bebe's Kids? Baron asked.
No, I actually haven't.
The babe replied coyly. She made mega eye contact, but it wasn't intimidating. It was chill. It's really funny. And the guy who starred in it and wrote the stand-up set that it's based on died before it was released. So that adds a certain degree of intensity.
For sure.
Baron and the babe stared at each other, but no one looked away or got nervous. You want to watch it with me?
I don't. I'm trying to buy my lip and I'll show up. I don't know.
She replied while biting her lip.
Are you pumped enough?
And without even thinking for a second, Baron knew he was pumped enough to watch VHS with a babe. He knew it at the core of every fiber of his pragmatic cargo shorts. He was pumped enough to do anything. He tongue-kissed the babe hard over the counter until it... Parents just entered and are watching me this. Over the counter until it became kind of painful on his back. Then he set Grindex down, ensuring his buddy had a good vantage point, went behind the counter and tongue-kissed her even more / harder. She started grinding her crotch into Baron, so he slammed Bebe's Kids into the display combo VCR / CRT and immediately and adequately took her to the bone zone while doing one-arm push-ups and exploding 2 popcorn bags with his jet boots. After both parties floated euphorically back to Earth, they chilled and watched the rest of the movie, including the end credits out of respect for Robin Harris. As the tape rewound, the babe started making little bird noises and trying to make out with Baron, indicating she was once again getting ready to rock. Hey, cool it, babe, he said as he rolled over and cracked open a package of gummy sour straws. I definitely don't want this feeling to end. And by this feeling, I mean my pump. But to be truly sure of that, I gotta go see Santa, and time is wasting.
But the ice tower is closed.
She said slyly. No big deal. I'll just bust the fuck in.
But what about your ADHD and social anxiety?
Baron smiled, slunk her index across his back, and said, oh well, who fucking cares? She smiled back and replied.
Go get him, Byron. Then come back here and get me.
Baron winced, and his pump slightly faltered with the realization she didn't even know his name after going to the Bone Zone and watching a movie that was special to him. This was only exacerbated by the fact that she thought he had a dumb name and still hooked up with him. But then he realized it was all good because he forgot her name too. I think it was like Stacy or Samantha or Kissley Green Frog or something, he thought. But since he couldn't decide, he just said, sure thing, sport, and busted back into the refreshing night air. Are we really going to do it? Grindex asked outside the video store. The entire park was now dark and silent. We're going to break into the ice tower? You know it, man, Baron replied. For the first time in years, he felt pumped and primed. But what if Santa's gone, remember? What if he's home by now, stacking it and jacking it with Mrs. Claus? Then nothing changes. Whoa, true. All right, let's do it. Baron narrowed his eyes at the ice tower. Its peak was beginning to look troublingly French. First, I gotta go rescue my dumb kid. This is your chapter. I'm gonna tap out. Gotta say goodnight to my parents.
Perfect timing. Ooh, get the pilot seat.
All right.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Here we go. Dweem!
Baron yelled as he and Grindex adeptly coasted on red and green jet boot flames over to the ice/Eiffel Tower. Pops! Dweem yelled as he saw his dad flying overhead. It's me, your dad. Do you remember? Yeah, it's been like 2 hours. Hey, time flies when you're having fuck. Wait, what? Nothing. What's up, dude? You still waiting to go home? Yeah, you left me here. You told me to, and then Grindex left me. Uncle G, Grindex corrected. Well, forget all that now, Baron said. Now I'm 100% Pete and Pete. Let's bust into the ice tower and make our wishes. Really? Dweem shouted excitedly. He hopped up and down, causing his entire body to ripple. He'd cried so much that his airbrush shirt looked like a melty Salvador Dali painting. Yeah, man, I'll get my pump back, and you can get your wish about your mom going back to school or whatever. It was for you and her to be friends again. Ah, yeah. All right, let's still boogie. Baron was so repumped that he lifted Dweem in a fatherly embrace, and the trio jet booted to the ice tower, which luckily was only like 5 feet behind them. They tried the entrance, but an elf with a pinched, bitchy little face raised a finger and said, Obviously, we're closed. Come back tomorrow, if you can afford it. Baron channeled his pump and wailed a doom metal cover of O Tannenbaum, which caused Grindax's strings to morph into thorny ice vines that extended and skinned the elf, clothes and all. His red, sinewy remains shrieked and convulsed, leaving behind a crimson ink blot on the concrete. Dweem immediately projectile vomited, but he had unfortunate aim and coated the elf's exposed flesh and muscle in acidic bile. The elf's howl turned animalistic as he experienced an altogether alien dimension of suffering. Whoa! Grindex laughed. I think someone's got his pump back. Just a taste, friendo, Baron said with wild eyes as he pulled the elf's skin over his own. We gotta find Santa to make it really stick. He tugged on the skin until it fit snugly over his own. But now we can unnoticed. See? They'll think I'm one of them. Grindex stared at Baron, who pulled the skin so tautly over his own that it had become translucent. He could see some of the elf's purple veins, sallow fat, and bloody flesh still attached. His spider stomach did a somersault. Let's maybe still sneak in, he recommended. For fun. Baron busted around the entire ice tower trying to find a way in, but all the doors were locked tight, protected by unneutered reindeer security guards, and the windows were barred up with candy canes, left in a grandma's purse so long they'd become rock hard, yet also somehow gummy if you chewed them. The only unbarred windows and unsecured doors were at least 25 feet up the ice tower. Baron tried to jet boot up to them, but he didn't have enough pump to get more than about 13 feet. It was high enough to dunk, but not high enough to get to Santa. And if he were holding Dweem, he'd be lucky to do a layup. Right as Baron and his pump began their final descent, he noticed an inner tube drift lazily past one of the ledges of an open ice tower window. He followed the tube with his eyes and saw it terminate inside a large mountain with mustache-shaped foliage. Surrounding were a number of other water slides and tube coasters. Of course, Baron yelled. Loose Band-Aids! Huh? Grindex responded. Loose Band-Aids! It's all so clear now! I think that elf skin is on too tight, man. No, listen. Every theme park has a water park that no one visits unless they're wearing loose Band-Aids, right? So it's no wonder it's the one place we missed. If we can get to that ride, even with Dweem's fatness, we should be able to jump from that tube into the ice tower. Baron, that's brilliant, but I still think you should take off that skin. It's starting to drip on me. It stink. No way, we might need it. Baron descended and reattached the leash to his son, who still involuntarily, albeit violently, vomiting onto the elf's motionless corpse. With a pump tug, the trio set off in the direction of the water park. Yeesh, what's with this place? Baron asked in front of a vinyl sign that featured a polar bear holding a surfboard and wearing swim trunks. Coming from its mouth, a speech bubble said, Snowboards up! Welcome to Christmas Kingdom Coast! You know what's up with this place, Grindex muttered angrily. Snowboards up? Dwayne puzzled. Is that a Home Alone reference? Like crowbars up? I think it's a bad pun on surfs up, Baron conjectured. But the bear's holding a surfboard, so I guess we're supposed to believe he's using a surfboard on snow? When snowboards are a real thing, and he's even saying snowboards up? It's fucking confusing. But the real issue is the K's. I'm telling you, Gorindak said, this fucking place is double R-worded, racist and R-worded. Agreed, Baron nodded. So let's make it worth it. The trio busted into the abandoned water park, navigating the minefield of used band-aids, empty nacho containers, and full diapers until they reached a mountain with mustache-shaped foliage. Unfortunately, like the ice tower, it was also barred shut. Motherfuck stick! Baron shouted angrily. We just saw this ride running, and it's our only shot. There has to be a way in. Oh, there is, young buck. A tired voice called from a shadowy family drying machine located next to the exit. A spidery nutcracker spilled out onto the wet sidewalk. He rose and stepped into the light of the moon. The dark green paint of his military uniform was worn, revealing spots of wood rot beneath. His teeth were chipped, his eyes sad, and his hair and goatee were dry and sun-bleached. In his right hand, he held a large brass key that had turned green with oxidation. He extended his left hand to shake, but quickly withdrew it to cover his face as he experienced a coughing fit. When it subsided, he lowered his hand and sighed. Excuse me, this chlorine, it gives me the vapors. Baron stepped in front of Dwayne and wielded Gorindax. He knew he had enough pump left in him to take the nutcracker out if necessary, and it was looking necessary really fucking quick. He only held back since the monster said something about getting in the water ride. How? Baron demanded while hovering his hand over a power cord. How do we get in? How do you get in to escape? The nutcracker wheezed. Oh, fart. Do we have to answer 3 riddles to get in? No, young buck. You didn't let me finish. You see, the ride is simply called Escape from Mustache Mountain. I tried to get them to name it Escape from Mustache Mountain with the O in mustache. Not for any geopolitical reason. I just appreciated how both words start with the same 3 letters. I'm an admirer of verbal aesthetics, kerning and all that. What the fuck? But the nationalistic bastards refused. They said that if I didn't accept it without the O, they would stick a few K's in there. So I capitulated. It was supposed to be my ride, my legacy. Wow, you built this? Dweem exclaimed. I did, my buoyant boy, the nutcracker said. He tried to close his mouth to smile, but it just caused more paint and rotten wood to chip off. His eyes became sadder. I am, or was, the greatest water slide designer this park has ever known. Dr. Sticky Hands Teal'Zorri. He extended his left hand again, but after the coughing fit and hearing that his first name was Sticky Hands, even Dweem wasn't dumb enough to shake it. He continued, I designed and built this entire ride by hand, down to the last mustache plait. But without the O, it is not perfect, and I thereby renounce it. But is it still a good ride? Just because it's not exactly how you want it to be in your head doesn't mean you have to turn your back on it, Baron bristled. I'm afraid it does, lad. The nutcracker responded mournfully. Tell me, would you go on this ride if I told you that somewhere on it, I'm not sure where, but somewhere, a single screw had fallen from the track? No way, too scary. Indeed it is, for even on a primordial level, we understand that a single imperfection as tiny as a screw, be it in a ride, or a name, or a man, can bring it all crashing down. Dweem swallowed hard. Yo, nutcracker monster, we're kind of in a rush, Baron said while pulling on the bars across the entrance gate. So how do we get in? Is there a secret tunnel you built below but didn't draw on the blueprints? Or a hidden door that only opens if we assemble a silver monkey? Or what? Dr. Teal'Zorri laughed, which caused him to go into another coughing fit. No, my overthinking friendo, he rasped. You simply use the key. He shambled over to the gate and lowered his right hand. The key fit perfectly between the bars. As he raised his hand back up, the bars rose with it. They hit the ceiling with a clunk, which was followed by the sound of wet wood splintering and a subsequent thwack. Baron, Dweem, and Gorindax looked at the ground to find Dr. Teal'Zorri's severed arm in a puddle of reddish-brown water. Its sticky hand still held the key tightly. In slow unison, the trio directed their gaze to the nutcracker's face, which looked as utterly hopeless as a kid whose entire fish collection was killed due to an aquarium air pump malfunction. The gate is falling. The Nutcracker's mouth clacked mournfully. Baron rushed with Grindex past the Nutcracker and yelled, "Thanks, homie! Get well soon!" Dweem stood frozen in place. Do you understand why we all fear that one loose screw, child? Dr. Teal'Zori asked quietly. It's because we all have it. He coughed and a splinter of wood fell from his mouth. Now you run along. I won't leave you here, Dweem stammered. Maybe we can find some glue or... Get over here! Baron yelled from inside the gate. He yanked Dweem's leash, pulling him inside as the bars dropped onto Dr. Teal'Zori's severed arm. Rotten wood exploded in a shower of wet shards, and the key twisted into a brass pretzel. Ha ha! Scorpion ref? Grindex laughed. You know it! Baron laughed back. Dweem, did you get it? Dweem slowly turned from the crumbling Nutcracker. He wanted to scream at his dad and hit him and tell him how much he hated him. But Dr. Teal'Zori's words echoed in his head. He said nothing. You didn't get it. But I know your mom doesn't let you play Mortal Kombat, so I don't blame you. I blame her. Now let's motherfucking tube. I know we're only really doing it to reach the Ice Tower, but I'm legit pumped for this ride. I mean, oh my fuckness. Tubing at night in an abandoned spooky Christmas theme park? Forget it. Dude, are you fucking pumped? Are you fucking scared / pumped? Are you fucking pumped and primed, aka Pete and Pete?
So good.
You want the captain's chair back?
No, that's fine. Oh, it was perfection. Chapter 23. After a daring but otherwise uneventful leap from the inner tube to the ledge of an unbarred window, the trio finally found themselves within reach of the Ice Tower and Santa. Baron peeked in through the window and said, "Looks like some type of workshop. A bunch of elves are painting wooden airplanes and trains and other stuff no one was played with since the 1950s. All right, Grindex replied. So, what's the plan? Hang out here until they all go on a lunch break or something, then sneak in? Nah, man, you forget that I still have on my cool costume. We can blend right in. I definitely did not forget that you're still covered in bloody elf skin. Trust me." Grindex and Dream both let out nervous, deflating balloon noises as Baron slid the window open and flung a leg over the threshold. Oh yeah, do you want to read this chapter?
Sure.
Yeah, this is one I remember you wanted to go for it.
The elf stopped painting and looked over right before a leather-faced Baron leaned his two faces in and yelled, "Good King Sir, comrades!" They all began shrieking, No, I'm you, Baron yelled. He tried pulling himself in the rest of the way, but his bloody hand slipped on a ledge, and he and Grindex fell into the room and crashed through a table. The elves shrieked louder and began throwing their paintbrushes and toys at him. A wooden truck hit Baron's heel and activated the jet boot, causing him to become a blood-soaked fire wheel that propelled itself around the room, torching every elf in its path and melting the icy walls and floors. "Fart kebab is over hell's fire!" Baron shouted. "Dude, my boot is F-bomb! Stop us!" Grindex loosened his razor wire strings and tried to catch on to something to stop Baron from spinning, but this instead morphed the duo into a flaming helicopter blade. The elf that survived the flames was instantly disemboweled / decapitated. Finally, Grindex snagged a workbench and the tornado of death subsided. Baron stood up and exhaled. I think I'll take off my costume now," he said. "Good fucking plan," Grindex coughed. Dwayne continued sitting on the ledge, soaked in his own urine and tears.
Awesome. Chapter 24. After promises of chocolates and Tamagotchis, Baron managed to get his son to come in from the window into the work/massacre room. The trio blood skated to the door and peeked their heads out. The interior of the Ice Tower was like an atrium-style self-contained city. On every floor, elves hurried in and out of the stores, restaurants, luxury apartments, barbershops, post offices, normal/boring offices, and for some reason a bunch of frozen yogurt shops. White and colored Christmas lights shone in every window, and a pine tree the size of a redwood rose from the ground floor to the top of the highest ceiling spire. Throughout the tree, ornaments served as hidden speakers, piping smooth jazz Christmas carols at perfect volume to every floor. "Wow!" Dweem gasped as his eyes sparkled with festive merriment. "Can you imagine the fucking electricity bill here?" Baron said, instantly breaking the spell and spirit. "And you know that fucking tree eats lights," Grindex added. "Oof, I don't even want to think about that. And just look at all these shops. Think of the errands you'd have to run. This place is like dad hell. Anyway, let's go, chubby boom boom." Baron attached Dream's leash and gave it a tug. No! Dweem snapped as he tugged the leash back. Baron spun around. Excuse you? Dweem undid the leash. I'm not being dragged around or kicked around anymore. I also hate when people say excuse you. He charged his dad while screeching and swinging his arms like a windmill. Dude, chill, Baron pleaded. You're going to draw attention to us. But Dweem didn't chill. He came at his dad like a pancake-fueled freight train. Baron easily stepped out of the way, and Dweem crashed directly into the hoofs of a ripped reindeer security guard. He suddenly found himself on his back, looking up at the Christmas tree. There were star ornaments that weren't there before. They glowed brighter and brighter until his entire field of vision was overtaken by blinding light. Dweem, wake up, buddy, a gentle voice echoed from somewhere far away. The blinding light retreated, and Dweem blinked to see his dad smiling above him. Dad? Dweem sputtered. It's me, pal. Don't worry, you've just been having a bad dream. But it's Christmas morning, your mom has cinnamon rolls in the oven, and Santa's been here. Oh, wow, Dweem said as he rubbed his eyes. I was having the worst nightmare. Was I there? Yeah, you were there. And Uncle Grindex? Yeah. Dweem stopped rubbing his eyes. And you tried to attack us, even though all we were trying to do was take you on a cool adventure and get you a wish granted and be nice to you? Dweem opened his eyes fully. His dad was there, and he had been asleep, but he definitely wasn't home, and it definitely wasn't Christmas morning. He was in a small, cold jail cell. The walls and bars were made of a cobalt blue, fully unmeltable hyper ice. In the far corner of the room sat a toilet filled with a mush mountain of dump. Sorry about the smell, Baron said. And now you apologize for trying to hurt your precious father who loves you so dearly. And for getting us beaten up and thrown into jail by reindeer security guards, Grindex added from Baron's back. I'm sorry, Dweem said contritely. I don't know why you gotta be a papa hater, Baron said with his nose in the air. You have some kind of psychological issue about dads. Dad, Inquisition time, babies, a reindeer guard called while throwing open the cell door. Cuff him up. His hooves struggled to put ice handcuffs on Baron and Dweem and string cuffs on Grindex. But once he got them on, the reindeer led the dudes into an interrogation room that was bare except for a table, a chair, and a wall-length mirror. The guard bailed, slamming the door behind him, and immediately began comparing arm vascularity with another reindeer security guard in the hallway. Well, this is it, Baron sighed. We'll definitely be tortured and killed. I was fine with the latter part, but not the former. Worst of all, we won't even get to meet Santa. Or Big T Frost, Grindex sighed. Look, Pops, Dweem said as he shuffled over to where his dad stood. I'm sorry I got us caught, and I'm sorry you don't get to see Santa and get your wish. But if we're about to die, I'm pumped that it's together. Today was an awesome day when you considered that we'd otherwise be pushing carts and sucking shit at Blur Spy. You gave me a great Christmas. To me, the real Santa was you all along. Whoa, say that again? Baron said while narrowing his eyes at his reflection in the mirror. The real Santa was you all along? Baron's eyes glimmered. It's a pretty big pump up. He dropped his shoulder and rushed at the reflective ice, exploding it into 1225 brilliant shards. He emerged to a room that was so warm it immediately melted his and Grindex's ice cups. Directly in front of him, toiling away at a desk, sat a very fat dude in a very red suit. Baron silently motioned for his son to follow. Dweem came in and his cuffs also melted, but when they melted, they dripped onto his pants just high enough so it looked like he pissed himself but also had a tiny dick. Yo, Santa? Baron asked cautiously as he entered the inner sanctum. Big guy? Dweem called from behind him. The back of the red suit spun around in its $350 office/gaming chair with built-in Bluetooth speakers to reveal a snow-white beard, rosy red cheeks, and eyes the color of Holiday Blast peppermint mouthwash. Oh, 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 he yelled jollily. Big guy, I like that. What's your name, child? Dweem. As in, Dweem Big and Be Big? Hey, yeah. Syrup, big guy, Grindex said to suck up. I'm Uncle G. Uncle G, I love it as well, Santa guffawed. His belly shook like a bowl full of non-cliche preserves. He looked to Baron and asked, And what is your name, young man? Baron said sharply. But that's exactly my problem. I'm not a young man anymore. So my one true Christmas wish is... Santa, my one true Christmas wish is... Dweem interrupted. No, there's plenty of time for all that, Santa said while holding up a white gloved hand. First, we have to take our picture. After all, you want something nice to send your mom back in Monsteropolis. Don't you, big guy? He turned to Dweem and winked. Oh my fuck. The trio gasped at the same time. This dude was definitely the real deal. Dweem tried to scamper so quickly towards Santa that he did the thing dogs/cats do when they run in place and just kind of scratch up the hardwood floors before actually getting traction and moving. But Santa didn't stress about it because he appreciated the Fats holiday pump. Ho, ho, ho! He gulped as all of Dweem's bulk came catapulting onto his lap. Elf babes emerged from a side room and set up cameras, but Santa didn't even look at them in an unprofessional way or jerk off into a potted plant. You too, Baron and Grindax, he said in a soothing baritone. Whoops, I mean Uncle G. Come now, you're never too old to take a picture with Santa. Even though he was super excited, Baron busted over in a much more chill/cool fashion than Dweem. After seeing there was no room left on Santa's lap since his son had pulled out, and because he didn't know the rules about that sort of thing, Baron said chose to bust a sweet power stance with Grindax. He even fingered a buzz-free F-bar chord in part to impress Santa, but mostly to impress the babe photographers. The babe snapped a picture, printed it, and then giggled and said, Mira Santa, to each other while looking at it, which made all three dudes nervous because they assumed the elves were talking about them. And Dweem went so far as to blurt/lie, my friend burned me with a cigarette, just in case they were laughing at the spot of ringworm on his arm. The elves brought over prints of the picture to Dweem, Baron, and Grindax, all of whom also resisted the urge to jerk off into a potted plant. The babes left an additional picture with Santa, who cared so much about everyone who came to visit him that he kept their pictures in a beautiful leather-bound Infinity album that smelled like a Christmas stocking, even though no one could precisely describe what a Christmas stocking smelled like. The elves exited, and Santa turned to the trio and said, All right, boys, it's wish time. All of them immediately popped bone/pink things, not in a sexual way, but in a happy dog way. I wish, Baron began. Then he looked at his son, whose shoulders had fallen in an expression morose. I wish Dweem would get his Christmas wish. Dweem looked up with his eyes full of hope and tears. Really, Dad? Really, son. Happy Christmas. Oh, wow. I mean, wow, Santa said. This goes beyond a ho-ho-ho here. Just assume I've said about 20 of those bad boys. I wish Dweem would get his wish, Grindex said, too late to get credit for it because the moment had passed. All right, son, Santa said as he leaned in and looked over the top of his 24-karat gold frames. What's your wish? I wish for my mom and dad to get back together. Oh, you fucking little liar, Baron snapped. You said you just wanted us to be friends again. Done, Santa winked, wiggled his nose, and flexed his pecs, and Christmas magic shot out into the night. Sorry, Dad, Dweem said while cowering. Baron sighed in defeat. It's fine, son. Maybe I won't even care about your absolute betrayal if I still get my wish. Santa, all I want for Christmas is to get my pump back. I don't want everything to hurt anymore. I don't want to be sad all the time. I don't want to just pay bills and go to sleep and then be told to shut up because that's life when I tell someone I don't want to just pay bills and go to sleep. I want to feel energetic again and hopeful and like I can do more push-ups next month than this month, instead of knowing that if I try to do more, I'll end up tearing something on my shoulder. Then the doctor will be like, yeah, you're not young anymore, so don't even try, but also try because otherwise you'll die. I don't want everything to be about death. I just want things to go back to the way they used to be. It's a lot of eyes, isn't it? Santa said while narrowing his eyes. Aren't you sure you don't want to wish for something a bit more altruistic? Nope. Pump is very important. To you. Yep. Do you hear yourself? Pump is very important to me. Yep. Not deaf, just depressed. Oh, I think you've hit it on the head. You're just depressed. You're not old, nor even close to being almost dead, which I know you say regularly. Honestly, this is probably something more for a psychologist to deal with, or perhaps in your case, a psychiatrist than a Santa Claus. Well, you could make the same argument for Dweem's dumb little wish. His mom and I tried marriage counseling, and she ended up giving the counselor an HJ while I was in the bathroom. Well, I was in the bathroom to piss, not even dump. But here you are, just bursting at the seams with CM for this kid. This is a Christmas conundrum, Santa puzzled. I do allow more leeway for the little ones, but let me check your chart and see if I can make an exception here. Good, Baron replied shortly. Dad, what's an HJ? Dweem asked worriedly. Let's see, Santa said. You've killed a few monsters who deserved it, and a few who don't. More who did than didn't, which is the important thing. But then you entered that cooking competition and used cat food just to watch people eat cat food. But that was just a goof, Baron clarified. True, true. Santa replied while pulling at his beard and thought, you did feed a lot of cat food to stray kittens, too, so perhaps that negates the competition thing. All right. I find that overall, your good guy to bad guy ratio is greater than 1. So I will grant your wish. Fart, yeah, Baron said. Don't push it. What, fart? That's a curse word? To a true Santa, yes. We're like Mormons. See? Dweem bragged to no one. Santa closed his eyes, but then he stopped and opened them slowly/weirdly, so it didn't count as a wink. I just had a realization, he said. Oh, come the F on, Baron shouted. The only way this Christmas magic is going to work is if I reverse your personal clock to when you are at your most pumped. Perfect. What's the problem? Your point of peak pump occurred while you were in Monsteropolis, but before you met Layla. Even more perfect. But if you haven't met Layla, then you haven't had your son. He will cease to exist. Baron looked at Dweem and then back at Santa. Like he wouldn't have been born? Well, more like he would have been murdered, because he exists now, and you would always remember that. So, do you have another wish? Just do it. I'm sorry. I can't think of anything else. Sorry, Dweem. But as the bully and Encino man said, some of us pump and some of us slump. Honestly, you're kind of a slump prophet. Plus, you tricked me with your wish, so now we're even. Dad? Dweem yelled in bewilderment. He's a slump slaffet, Grindex offered. Ha! I love it, Baron laughed. Hey, Grindex will still be here, right? Can I get that in writing? Yes and no, Santa responded sadly. Baron, know that if you do this, you will be on the naughty list for a very, very long time. No problem. As long as I'm pumped, I don't give a what. Remember that? There was some rap song that was like, I don't give an F, but on the radio mix, it was edited to I don't give a what. Actually, it may have been that one that was like, can I get a what you? Jay-Z, right? I don't know. Just try not to curse here. Let's do it. Hit me with your Christmas magic. Why don't you hit me with your Chinese moo-moo? Grindex sang. Ooh, nice, Baron nodded. Hit me with your Chinese moo-moo. He pointed to Grindex and fire away. Dad, I fucking hate you. Dweem shrieked as he windmilled toward Baron. Santa winked, wiggled his nose, flexed his pecs, and Dweem vanished into morbidly obese air. Chapter 25. Oh my fuck, Baron shouted while Jetboot blasting out of the ice tower and Jetboot neutering every reindeer security guard in his path. Dude, I am so fucking pumped. You think I don't know? Grindex screamed as the duo barrel rolled through the black night sky. I tried to take a biometric pump reading off you the second those bags under your eyes disappeared and your cargo shorts turned back into jeans. But something inside me popped and I got an error message. Haha, shit. Man, why didn't you wish to be young and pumped again too? Baron asked as he looked down into his best friend's milky eyes. Spider monsters don't care about that shit. We're just happy to be along for the ride. And guitars actually get sweeter with age. I didn't want to say anything, but when you were trying to play me earlier, your sausagey dad hands were the reasons why nothing worked. Every note was touching like 3 strings. Try to play something now. Baron stretched his slim alien fingers and wielded an instrumental speed metal cover. Oak Ridge Boys, thank God for kids. 8 different shades of red and green lasers beamed from Grindex's eyes, instantly clearing them of their cataracts. The lasers blazed all the way to the northernmost tip of the North Pole, where Santa was pulling into his driveway after a long and existential day of working in the ice tower. Every beam exploded in a reverse color, so red became green and green became red. Fireworks show that spelled, thank you for my gifts. Santa smiled, busted out his phone to move Baron back to the nice list, and went inside to stack and jack it. As the sounds of money being counted and Mrs. Claus moaning in delight echoed loudly across the tundra, it was easy to miss the faint pop as an additional chubby and imperfect firework quietly burst, and a school photo of Dweem with gelled down gerbil hair faded into the starry backdrop. Ooh-wee, Baron exclaimed back in Christmas Kingdom as he saw his new/old found powers in his best friend's crystal clear, blacklit spider eyes. Now I'm super glad you didn't wish to be young again. It would have been a total waste. By the way, what did you wish for? Oh, nothing, Grindex lied as the two flew past a wooden sign that read, "Thank you for coming to Christmas Kingdom," with all 3 C's. Man, I can't believe Santa fell for that bullshit thank you note, Baron cracked up while playing with his brand new tuxedo kitten. Got us back on the nice list, didn't it? Grindex replied while playing with his brand new tuxedo kitten. Sure enough, what a dumbass. It was Christmas morning, and Baron and Grindex had made it home just in time to be greeted by a fully decorated tree, a fully wrapped mountain of presents, and a fully nude / ready to rock Layla. She explained that it was, well, unexplainable. On Christmas Eve, she became so overwhelmed by the desire to get back together with Baron that she packed her bags, told Randy to fart off, and traveled all night to Earth. It must be Christmas magic, Layla whispered. As her naked body embraced Baron under the mistletoe, he gently placed a finger over her lips and whispered back, "No, it's Chinese Moo Moo," without any explanation as to what the fuck that even meant. Then she noticed that Grindex had pink thing, and then they told her that Dweem got killed, and then she remembered why she left Baron in the first place. So she repacked her bags, told him to fart off, and traveled all night back to Monstropolis. Do you want to take
Mini pump?
Yeah, mini pump.
12:26, aka the first day of the Halloween season, in 5 minutes' time.
After Layla used her necromancer powers to resurrect her relationship with Randy because he paid the bills, she resurrected her son. In her basement, Dweem dwelled, curling 40s like it was no big deal. As he lifted, he stared at his reflection in the mirror and smiled confidently. His vascularity was coming in nicely, as was his obese chef monster mustache. He let the dumbbells clatter to the ground and began heading to the kitchen for a serving of 18 Hot Pockets. But then he saw the picture that was taped to his bedroom door, the picture with 2 red X's scrawled on it. He turned around and pissed/primately picked up the weights.
Hell yeah. And then tips and tricks. If you encounter the real Santa, make sure you hold A to sneak. Otherwise, we'll jetpack off with all of your presents. If you encounter a non-real Santa, hold your mom/dad/spouse/dog fucking close. Chances are there's a maniac or at least a very sad person beneath that beard. And finally, and most importantly, call your grandma because she misses you. This has been 13 Creeps of Christmas, SB Volume 2. Shout out to Blair and Scruggs for being like the 2 non-family members watching. Shout out to Tom Frost for all the awesome tunes and support. Teal Ziore for the awesome book covers. More than should be supportive spouses. And we shall see you probably 4th of July for the next book, which will be summer themed, Escape from Sideburn Mount. Excellent. Enjoy your 4 minutes of Christmas.